Once the smoke cleared in Daytona, Michael Annett finally arrived in victory lane.
Michael Annett, first career victory.
But now, NASCAR passes through the gateway to the south, where the speed picks up and the real racing begins.
To Atlanta where the players play, and we ride on them things like every day.
Today, the Xfinity field looks to find their rhythm. And calling the shots from the booth are two savvy vets who, with 13 Atlanta Motor Speedway wins between them,
Kevin Harvick, he's been dominant here. How about our 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson?
might have a useful tip or two for the kids.
Welcome to Atlanta where the players play, and we ride on them things like every day. Big beats, hit streets, big gangsters roaming.
Welcome to Atlanta, where the racers race. NASCAR Xfinity Series is next on FS1.
It's the Xfinity Series Round 2, the second race of the season. And if you thought the speed at Daytona was fast, well, just wait till today. This worn-out racetrack is a challenge for even the veterans. And now the young guys look to tackle it. Some say the season starts right here, right now. And if it does, you have one shot to get off to a strong start. Hi, everyone. Welcome into our Race Hub studios. I'm Shannon Spake, America's crew chief Larry McReynolds, and Jamie McMurray, who 1 week ago was in the race car, but 17 years ago, something really special happened down in Atlanta. Let's take a look.
Does the fuel hold up? He's got it. Checkered flag for Jamie McMurray. He steals the win away in the RX 312 in Atlanta. I think he's out of fuel. How about Jamie McMurray?
Gonna do a better burnout, but I ran out of gas over there.
See, I wish you could take the hat off in victory lane because I'd like to see if the hair still looks the same.
I don't think he's changed a bit.
That hasn't changed a lot.
I think that's awesome. You told me you went back and watched that race again this past week. What do you remember about being in that moment?
Well, I remember I won at Charlotte like 2 weeks before that, and I hadn't won in a truck or a Busch Series car at the time up to that. And so I won at Charlotte, and then Michael Waltrip dominated that race and ended up running out of gas with a few laps to go. I made it on gas, and I was able to get my first Busch Series win. And it was a cool moment when I looked back at that because Jason Ratcliffe was my crew chief, and I just spoke to him at Daytona last week. I've been friends with him since, so it's cool to kind of relive some of those memories.
What is it about being a crew chief for young drivers at this track? I just mentioned how tough it can be.
Yeah, it's a very fast mile-and-a-half track, but it's one of the more unique ones. You talked about how wore out the surface is, and I almost feel like when you're a crew chief there for a young driver, you have to be a salesman. He's going to be out there complaining about his car because it loses grip the minute you go through one corner. So he's going to be complaining about his car, but you have to convince him everybody's complaining. We just got to get it where you're complaining less than the other guys.
And Jamie, you jumped on my question because I was going to trick him and ask him if he knew who your crew chief was in that race. Did you know? No? Oh.
Jason Ratcliffe.
He just
I think you got her there, right?
He just said it.
Did I say it?
Yeah, it was Jason Ratcliffe.
Yeah, so
I didn't hear a word he said.
He wasn't listening.
Oh, I was in the zone.
We can guarantee that there's going to be a first-time Atlanta winner today. That's because not one driver in the field has won at this racetrack. There's no Harvick, there's no Busch, and that means that the race is wide open. So who do you have your eyes on, Jamie, besides Jason Ratcliffe and his driver?
Well, yeah, Christopher Bell has to be a top pick. He sat on the pole here last year, ran third in the race. But the big guy this year is going to be Cole Custer. And I say that because he won it at Homestead, one of his 2 wins, on a track that's really slick like Atlanta. But I think the big deal for him is that he has paired up with Mike Shiplett. Mike Shiplett's cars on mile-and-a-half tracks last year dominated. They were the best cars. I talked to Mike and Cole at Daytona, and they were pretty excited about getting paired up and coming to Atlanta.
And we have so many drivers in this field that's looking for their very first career win in the Xfinity Series. And Atlanta has been conducive for drivers getting a first career win. We talked about Jamie McMurray. Our teammate Jeff Gordon got his first career Xfinity Series win there at the age of 20. So we've had 4 drivers total that got their first career win there. I guess I think about Noah Gragson, who ran second in the Truck Series race a year ago, Junior Motorsports. Maybe it's a day when he gets his first career win.
Dare we use the O word, opportunity, right? We love to use that.
Not luck.
Not luck, opportunity. Okay, how about an opportunity in the broadcast booth today? It's an absolute full house. Adam Alexander, Kevin Harvick, and Jimmy Johnson are going to call the race, and here's a glimpse of what you can expect.
Shannon, we got the heavy hitters today. Kevin and Jimmy have combined for 10 NASCAR championships, 8 at the Cup level. They've got 13 wins at Atlanta across the top 3 series. Last year, Harvick got the weekend sweep. But the big headline, the fact that Jimmy is making his booth debut. You ready for this?
I am, man. I got my rookie stripe on and I'm ready to go.
All right, and I got to ask you for a little advice. What are you telling this guy today, Kevin?
Well, we talked earlier in the week. I said the hardest thing for me to get used to is not looking at the racetrack because I always want to watch the race. So, I think we're going to have a good time today and just relate to the people what we feel in the car. So we're excited to have Jimmy on board.
Are you losing your voice?
I am. So you guys are going to have to talk a little bit more today because my voice is going away.
Heavy lifting for you and I, Jimmy.
Perfect. That's exactly what I need for my opening day. I'll take it.
Sign language.
I'll see you guys upstairs, Shannon.
Yeah, they're pros. They're going to be great. Okay, so it was another dominating week for junior motorsports, this time with Michael Annett leading the charge. The Daytona champ tells us about his first career Xfinity victory and how there's plenty more to come. Plus, it is a rookie roundup as we get to know John Hunter Nemechek. He's someone that's making waves, as well as that guy right there, Chase Briscoe, is going to join us for a pin interview. And then, oh yes, it's back. Stump the Mac is now going to be Stump the Max. You don't want to miss it.
Another Daytona, another win for junior motorsports.
Here is the checkered flag. Michael Annett, first career victory.
Over the last 11, KRM has won Daytona 6 times by 6 different drivers. This one belonged to Michael Annett, who captured his first career Xfinity win in 230 tries.
This is amazing. I couldn't do it without these guys. They've stuck with me through the hard times when everybody counts us out.
It wasn't just his day. Justin Allgaier finished runner-up, the 4th time Junior Motorsports has finished 1-2 at Daytona. Chase Elliott and Noah Gragson weren't far behind either. All 4 JRM drivers finished in the top 11. With the 2018 Xfinity Championship in its rearview mirror,
Tyler Reddick wins.
the reworked team is 1 for 1 this season. Is it time for an encore in Atlanta, or for the season as a whole?
So Junior Motorsports ended 2018 on a high note, winning the Xfinity Series title with Tyler Reddick and taking the regular season championship with Justin Allgaier. Well, the offseason certainly didn't take any wind out of their sail, as driver Michael Annett won his first career race 1 week ago at Daytona. It was their 6th win with their 6th different driver at that racetrack. And we go down to Atlanta right now and welcome in Michael Annett. Hey, Michael, I know when you race for a guy with the last name Earnhardt, there's so much pride when it comes to going to plate tracks, but even more so when you go to Daytona. Take me inside one of your private conversations with Dale Jr. What did he say to you about getting that victory?
Well, he was just so proud. I'm not shy about, showing my disappointment I've had the past 2 seasons with Junior Motorsports, not getting them the results that they expected, that I expected, and just so much hard work and how much they've stood behind me and trying to get the right chemistry together to get those results. And obviously, Junior had a really close relationship with Travis Mack, the crew chief that came on board with about 12 races to go last season, and just put the 2 of us together, knowing that having the confidence in Travis, the confidence in myself, knowing that the 2 of us would gel really well together, and to really start to show some results at the end of 18 and to go into 2019, get our first win together, and just really get the ball rolling for this 2019 season. Had a lot of fun together last week, and we've just and that confidence has continued here in Atlanta with through the 2 practice sessions we had yesterday. We're showing a lot of speed, not only in the 1 car, but in Junior Motorsports as a whole.
Michael, let's expand on something you just said. You spoke about your first 2 years at Junior Motorsports. How frustrating has it been to look across the shop and see some of your teammates winning races, contending for a championship? Was that a tough pill to swallow?
Yeah, it definitely was, and not only knowing myself, Junior Motorsports is a really fun place to win a race. As you can see on social media, they know how to celebrate. And my guys that have worked just as hard as those other teams have in our race shop have had to sit there and do the beer toast and ring the bell for another team within the shop. So it was just a lot of fun to be a part of, giving them the opportunity to have that pride, to walk into the shop, to hand out the win stickers with their faces on it and their car number. It was just really cool to, not only for myself, but those guys that put in the long hours into those race cars that I'm fortunate enough to drive. To see the relief on their faces, it was probably more special than anything.
Hey, Michael, congrats on winning at Daytona. This was your first race together with Travis Mack. And I read coming into the season that you guys came up with a slogan, one team, one dream, one goal. Does winning in your first race together change any of that? Did you guys have to sit down this week to reevaluate what your goals are heading forward?
I mean, obviously, you know, winning a race was part of the goals, but obviously a championship and, you know, making the playoffs, because unfortunately we didn't last year, you know, that was a goal. So there's more than one goal. I think there's one end goal, and that's a championship. And obviously, Jamie, you know, in our sport, your highs can never be too high and your lows never too low. It's just too long of a season to have those ups and downs. You got to try to stay even keel. And like I said, we like to celebrate wins at Junior Motorsports, and we capped it off on Wednesday, but we were in Travis's office Monday morning going over video. You know, I think everybody standing on the stage behind me has probably watched the in-car of Harvick here last year, and that's what we were doing Monday morning, trying to put Daytona, you know, we don't want to forget about it, but we got to put it behind us and go to work this week, and that's what we've done, and that's what's shown this weekend so far.
Well, what a way it would be to start the season 2-0, Michael. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck out there today.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
So when you talk about Junior Motorsports, obviously the loss of Elliott Sadler, you would think that losing that veteran leadership could have an effect. But when you look at this team, what do you think about the dynamic right now?
I like the mixture. You've got a couple of veterans over there with Michael Annett, with Justin Allgaier, and then you have that young rookie, Noah Gragson. And Atlanta's a good track for Junior Motorsports. They've run 3 of the last 9 races there, the most of any organization in that period. Honestly, when you look at the fact that they won 7 races last year with 2 drivers, I think they're going to pick up right where they left off, but I love the mix they have over there right now.
Yeah, and when you look across that table, Michael Annett has admitted, like, hey, we struggled. We were the weak link, right? And you know that affects the entire team, especially when he has success. What's that like being a teammate to a guy like that?
It's really hard when your teammates are winning or competing for the championship. And I saw where he made a comment about just wanting to have a banner in the shop, something that his guys that work on his car can be proud of. And that's a huge deal. And I'm happy for him that he's going to get to have that moment. And when we get to the Christmas party this year for Junior Motorsports, they're going to have some good highlights from Daytona, which is such an important track to the Earnhardt. So good for him.
Yes, and they've got a big banner, right? Because you mentioned it. Daytona's, I think, a little bit bigger in size than all the rest of them. So Michael Annett made a statement winning the first race of the season. Could we see the same from one of the rookie contenders in the field today? Coming up, we're going to catch up with John Hunter Nemechek and Chase Briscoe as we get you ready for racing in the ATL.
Winning the opening stage, Justin Haley. How about that?
Chase Briscoe, no doubt. He's a dirt racer from Indiana. His car owner, a dirt racer from Indiana, named Tony Stewart.
Noah Gragson, he's going to have a great year. He's with Junior Motorsports, one of the best teams in the garage area. And that guy right there has a huge future in our sport.
So back in 1990, a 27-year-old driver with the last name Nemechek won the Rookie of the Year award. And while a lot has changed in the series, the name Nemechek is still on the side of one of the doors in the field. John Hunter Nemechek certainly made his presence known in 2018, and now he hopes, like father, like son.
John Hunter Nemechek, take 1 mark.
If I could have one meal for the rest of my life, I'd say it would be probably fish, black and grouper. It's so good. The most used emoji in my phone is probably the crying, laughing face. Between all of my buddies and all of our friends, we're in a bunch of group texts, and there's always funny texts and pictures getting sent. So it gets used probably a couple 100 times a day. Any series, who's the villain, who's the hero? We're going to go with the Cup Series, hero and villain. Hero, Jimmy Johnson. Villain, probably say Kyle Busch or Kevin Harvick.
John Hunter Nemechek, not the only Xfinity Series rookie you should get to know. It is a talented class. Regan Smith is trackside with driver of the 98. That would be Chase Briscoe.
Well, thanks, guys. It is a very talented class, and as you mentioned, Chase Briscoe, 1 win under your belt in this series already, but you are still a rookie, and you're starting 28th today because of the rain. How much of a challenge is it going to be for you to come through the field and save your tires all at the same time? Yeah, you know, it's definitely tough when you're trying to race and starting back there. You got to get track position early, but I feel like my crew chiefs really drilled it into my head all weekend to keep saving tires. And obviously Harvick's so good at that, so we'll keep that in mind and just really try to conserve early, and it'll pay off at the end. We had a really good long run car yesterday, I felt like, so we'll see if we can get this new Challenge Ford up front. I feel like we have a really good handling car. I just don't know how much this mist or rain is going to change the track, but I feel like we should be pretty good. Hopefully we can get up front and see what we can do. Winning car from a year ago, Shannon. He's got a lot of confidence in that race car.
Thank you so much, Regan. Now, Jamie can't get over the fact that John Hunter Nemechek said grouper is the food that he would eat.
That's what you get.
We all say cake. What do you think about this rookie class?
So I know John Hunter pretty well because I used to work out with him last year, being a part of CGR. His commitment level to the opportunity that he has, whether it's fitness or he used to come to the shop a couple days a week and pit stop practice with the pit crew, hours in the simulator. The biggest thing is he knows that this is a really big opportunity for him. He drove for his father's truck team for the last couple years. Now he's got a chance to kind of make a name for himself, and he's going to make the most of it.
Yeah, you said it. Very talented group, and they're all in good race cars. I would not be a bit surprised to see all of them win a race this year, possibly one or two of them in the Championship 4 at Miami in November.
Could happen today. Atlanta. Could happen today. Up next, it is Larry's favorite part of Saturday. But guess what, folks? This time, he's not the only Mac involved. Stump the Mac coming up as FS1 Race Day continues.
This week on NASCAR Race Up, we're talking all the drama from Hot Atlanta. Plus, we have a Georgia-size radioactive for you.
Yeah, just jam on the brakes. Corner.
And don't miss Brad Keselowski, Jamie McMurray, and Drew Blickensderfer in studio. That's all this week on NASCAR Race Up. Weeknights, 6 p.m. Eastern, only on FS1.
Yes, it's going to be a big week on NASCAR Race Hub. Larry McReynolds will be here Monday and Thursday. Welcome back. As you see down there, it looks a little misty, but certainly there's some activity down there by the race cars. We don't see any covers on right now. So as the race approaches, our pit reporters approach the cars and drivers for a pit walk. We begin with Matt Yoka. Matt.
Well, Shannon, I'm at the front of the grid. Cole Custer's on pole in the 00, but Chad Fincham in the 42 with Ganassi points from a year ago. Amanda on the hood, but you're going to do what?
Well, obviously this is a dream come true for a little boy like me. I raced at Atlanta Motor Speedway years ago in the Legends Division and Bandoleros, but, in our situation, it's a privilege to be up here with Christopher Bell and Cole Custer and all these guys. Raced with them for a long time and have a lot of respect for these guys. And in doing that, our plan is obviously we're going to pull out a line and drop to the rear at the 1-to-go signal. I mean, I think we're pretty fast. We got a pretty sporty car, and I feel confident about it, but these guys right here might have a little something else for us. So we're going to get back out of line. And I think we've got a car to run, 15th to 20th with. And, if you look at last season's standings, I think that's just a progression of what we're building on. So if we're in the right direction, that's all that matters.
All right, have fun.
Thank you.
Regan.
Brandon Jones over here with new crew chief Jeff Mendering. Hey, you're an Atlanta boy. Did you get some good home cooking this week?
I had a lot of family come down, so it's good to be back home. Good to have family here, and I think we've got a great Toyota Supra to go at it this afternoon.
How's things going with the new crew chief so far?
Very good. We've had fun this offseason trying to get to know each other a little bit. We had a great race last week. Looking for something even better this week.
All right, thanks, Matt.
I'm here with the 22, Austin Cindric. Double duty for you today. You should get extra pay.
I don't know about that. That was pretty cool. I definitely didn't think I was going to be doing that when I woke up this morning. I had about 15 minutes notice, and sure enough, I'm driving a cup car. So very cool. Back to the real job. Back to reality, and I think we have a good car for today.
Real quick, I think you're glad Harvick's not in the field. He's in the booth.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see his perspective from the booth instead of down on the track. That's for sure, because his perspective from the track is usually a pretty clear windshield.
Good luck, Regan.
Well, down here, John Hunter Nemechek having some fun with sponsors and family around this area. John Hunter, you were exciting a year ago in this race. We saw you slip sliding all over the place. How's this car going to be today?
I think it's going to be pretty good. We made a lot of adjustments from first practice to final practice, and I ended up happy. Hopefully we can get our fire alarm services Chevy up front and win this thing.
Your dad, front row Joe Nemechek over there. You going to crew chief for him in the truck race later?
I'm not. I'm going to let Jerry Kinnan handle those duties today.
Good luck. Shannon?
That's a good question, Regan. I like that. All right, Jamie Mack, have you seen Stump the Mac from last year?
A little.
A little.
A little.
Okay, let's remind you what it is and folks at home as well. Let's get right to it. Stump the Mac time, my favorite time of the show.
You never know what you're gonna get.
What is the Texas Longhorns catchphrase?
Hook 'em horn.
There you go, baby. We got it.
I'm just gonna take a wild guess. Potatoes.
Is potatoes produce?
I'm gonna say 40.
That's a lot. 3.
Can't win with you.
Do you watch The Bachelor?
I do. It's
Yeah.
date night for Linda and I.
What machine was invented in Iowa for bread?
It's
Hunka hunka burnin'.
I believe you have stumped the
I
Mac.
believe I have stumped the Mac. Okay, so since we have a McMurray and a McReynolds, we're going to do double stump the Mac here. Okay, so I thought we'd have a little fun. I'm going to give you a hint, and
This is fun for her.
It is fun.
yeah.
This is
I
fun
want
for
you
her.
guys to name the famous Mick or Mac that I'm talking about. Okay? So it's
Okay.
a person, Mick or Mac. Okay. Hey Jude. Hey Jude.
Jude.
Paul McCartney.
McCartney,
Oh my goodness. Okay, this is going to be
Beatles.
long.
That's not got Mac in it.
Paul McCartney, former Eagles quarterback.
Mc something.
McNabb.
McNabb.
Jason
At
Ratcliffe.
least he tried. You get an A for effort. Formula One team. Formula One. McLaren. Like he's two for.
all over it.
Okay. Michael J. Fox's dad in Back to the Future.
It wasn't McLovin.
Mac. Oh shoot, Mac something.
Hello.
McNaught.
It's too much pressure, Shannon.
Nick Fly. Too much pressure. Says a guy who goes 200 miles an hour into turn
I'm just
one.
going to stick with Jason
All right,
Ratcliffe
here's the
for every
final
answer.
one. Ready? All right, all right, all right.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, that guy.
Jamie McMurray,
It's
you
easier
win.
at home.
Let's get to Knuckles.
I promise
Jamie
it's
McMurray,
easier.
good job. First
It was just
time, he
very
gets them all.
discombobulated
We'll give
here.
you another chance there, Jason Ratcliffe. Thanks for playing along. Something like that next week will happen again. All right, so yeah, I mean, looks like the cars are going good. There's a mist out there. It's 52 degrees, a little bit different than what we've seen all week, right?
Oh, the mist is terrible. That track is notorious for having that. And as a driver, that's really frustrating to have to deal with that.
Okay, well, we'll see how they handle it. Let's go trackside for opening ceremonies. Good job, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Riverside Military Academy presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as United States Air Force Chaplain Lieutenant Colonel James Danford offers today's invocation.
Heavenly Father, thank you for today and the blessing of life and freedom. We are free today because of the sacrifices of so many. So I pray for the men and women that protect and fight for us. We honor those who have given the ultimate sacrifice, and let us not squander the gift we have received. I also pray for the safety of our drivers and the wonderful day to enjoy with our families. Give your wisdom to our leaders and unite our communities under justice and peace. Amen.
Here today to honor America, please welcome Nashville recording artist Taryn Papa, accompanied by signer Candace Jones, Sign One news anchor, as they perform our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we've hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
There are 10 races on mile-and-a-half tracks this season. The first one is coming up right after the break. We'll get you back down to Atlanta. Come on back here on FS1.
How you doing on time, Pam?
What a day. You guys are in for such a treat. In the booth today are Adam Alexander and two future Hall of Famers, Kevin Harvick And making his debut is one of our guest analysts, Jimmy Johnson. Hey, Jimmy, all of us here wishing you the best of luck today. Keep those guys in line, okay?
I'll do my best. Thank you. Is Shannon suggesting that I'm not a future Hall of Famer? Is that the way that came out?
That's how I took it.
Okay, that's how I took it as well, and I think rightfully so. Hey, these guys know all about success, not only in NASCAR, but right here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You've got 5 Cup wins here, a lot of young drivers in the field. What advice would you give a young kid coming to this place, Jimmy?
Yeah, it's really tough to manage your emotions. You're excited, you're here, you're almost to the big show, you're in the Saturday race at a NASCAR event, but this is Atlanta Motor Speedway. You have to take care of your car and your tires here.
It's funny, yesterday in practice, all these young guys were saying, we've been watching the videotape, and we're going to go out and run the Harvick line. Can you replicate that? What do you think, Kevin?
Well, it's definitely a challenging racetrack to run the bottom of the racetrack because it's so rough and it kind of slings the car up off the racetrack as you try to hook that line. So it's definitely a balance. And the thing that I would tell those young guys, use the pedals, use the brake, use the gas, use them together to try to manipulate those bumps and drive the car with the pedals because it's not going to go around the corner by itself. So this is definitely a racetrack that you have to manipulate the car.
The other interesting thing today, qualifying rained out, so we set the field on points, but the forecast for today much different than yesterday. How weather sensitive is this place?
This place is weather sensitive. It's not as much as some other tracks, I believe, just because the surface is so abrasive, but you're going to be slipping and sliding regardless of air tone.
How tough is that on Kevin?
Well, it's hard to manage how fast you need to go at the beginning of the run to make sure that you don't tear the tires up. So it's going to give them a little extra grip and another chance to be hard on the tires.
And all of that puts Cole Custer out front, who, oh, by the way, very good yesterday in the 2 practice sessions. Let's go trackside and get the command.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome today's Grand Marshal from Hiller Plumbing, Steve Borden.
On behalf of Rinnai Tankless Water Heaters and Hiller Plumbing out of good old Nashville, Tennessee, and the great people of Atlanta, drivers, start your engines!
The engines have fired. It's time for round 2 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2019. We're going green when we return to Atlanta live on FS1.
I've been seeing your soul.
The engines have fired. It's time to go green here at Atlanta.
One of the fastest tracks on the circuit.
It's going to be a great fight.
Cloudy, cool, misty day here in Hampton, Georgia, but the track is dry as we get set to race for the 28th time of the NASCAR Xfinity Series here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Cars are rolling off, and it's about time to make it happen. And in the field today is Ryan Preece, driving the 8 for Junior Motorsports. What a debut in his Cup rookie season last week, Daytona 500. Is it better to be lucky or good at the World Center of Racing? Somehow he made it through the big one, got a top 10 finish, and we go from the driver's seat with Preece today, who rolls off 6th. Kevin?
Hey, Ryan Preece, this is Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, and Adam Alexander up in the booth. Looks like you're getting ready to have some fun today. We're looking forward to all those Hans resets from the camera today. What are you looking to learn? The conditions are a lot different today. What are you looking to do today besides win a race?
I mean, really, that's the goal, is to win. But, you know, just learning the different characteristics of this racetrack. It's really on my 2nd time on here, but just stay glued to the bottom, make minimal amounts of mistakes.
Hey, Ryan, Jimmy Johnson here. Just curious about your short amount of time with everybody at JRM. Clearly, I have one of the crew chiefs from there. That's my crew chief this year with Kevin Mendering, and you have Taylor Moyer with you on your side now.
Yeah, Taylor really impressed me yesterday. We made a lot of gains from the 1st, 2nd practice, so really excited about working with him and having Louisiana hot sauce in the car this weekend. And you know, hopefully we can accomplish that goal that we're set out to do.
All right, buddy. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck today.
Thank you.
What a great story. Modified champion, comes down from Connecticut. A couple years ago, runs full-time in the Xfinity Series for JD Motorsports. Didn't make up a lot of ground there. Came back with Joe Gibbs Racing, wins a couple of races. Now he's full-time in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series in the first of 4 starts in that 8 car for JRM coming here today. Let's hear from our pit reporters before we go green. We start with Regan Smith. Hey, Regan.
Well, good afternoon, Adam. Hey, yesterday in Xfinity Happy Hour, we reported on the 7 car of Dustin Allgaier having some smoke in his race car. They thought it was rubber buildup on the exhaust of the car. Turns out it was actually this piece right here that came off of the racetrack. This is a track sealer that they put inside of the cracks. It was coming off. They put brand new track sealer down during the offseason. It was coming off the track and landing on some of the race cars. Keep an eye out today. These guys have to worry about their tires, but they also have to worry about if this gets on the car and starts smoking, smelling just like rubber, and throwing them for a curveball. Matt Yoakum?
Regan, a year ago, contact with John Hunter Nemechek cost Cole Custer early, seemingly ended his day. No chance for a win. Hoping to rebound here today. I talked to him on the grid about Harvick. His chances of pulling off a Kevin Harvick type line type day. He said, you know what? I've seen the data. We all know how he does it, but none of us can do it. He goes, I hope to run the bottom. We did that in practice. If the balance goes away, you might see us migrate up top. But as crew chief, he's a stout one. Mike Shiplett on the 1.5 miles. Great resume. 17 wins. They're hoping for number 18 for Shiplett here today.
Yeah, you talk about Mike Shiplett coming over to Stewart-Haas Racing. A huge pickup for SHR. And Kevin, you and I were talking. This is a great partnership for a veteran crew chief and a young driver in Cole Custer.
Well, we saw what Mike Shiplett did last year with pretty much any driver that got in that car at Ganassi. And the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, does it bring that extra little bit? It's not that Cole Custer hasn't won or hasn't been competitive, but does it bring that extra little bit to where we can see Cole Custer and Christopher Bell have that showdown this year and compete week after week after week? So I think it can. Mike Shiplett brings a lot of experience.
Both drivers down at the Homestead Miami Speedway last year going for the championship. You talk about Christopher Bell and Cole Custer. You saw the race analysis there. Each of these first 2 stages are 40 laps. Likely, though, we could see green flag pit stops in that final stage. How difficult for young drivers getting onto pit road under a green condition, Jimmy?
Yeah, not only young guys, but I was trying to get on and practice myself
Okay,
a few minutes ago. And I think I only made 3 of the 5 attempts. So what's really tricky is as the laps go by, your grip level goes down, your corner speed goes down, and the reference point that you found in practice isn't the same on 40-lap tires. So it's very easy to miss pit road.
Yeah, and the other thing is once you lock that left front tire up, is it starts sliding, and it doesn't seem like you can ever stop it. And
No,
it's
I swear
it's
it
the
speeds
weirdest
up at
thing ever.
times.
It just feels like you just keep going faster.
How about our defending champ, Tyler Reddick, won the title last year with Junior Motorsports, now driving the 2 car for RCR.
Looks like they got a good amount of rubber everywhere from that last practice, from what I could see. Yeah, pretty much that whole last 20, 30 minutes, most guys are running right up top there. So still not so much over in 3 and 4. Everybody's been staying pretty committed to the bottom over there in 3 and 4.
Reddick starting 12th and talking about the rubber on the racetrack that you guys put down in Cup Final practice. He's interested on where that rubber is because he likes to run where? Out by the wall, right?
Well, and in practice, in turns 1 and 2, I felt like you could get away with running up next to the wall. I feel like you give up time with the way that our cars were in 3 and 4, but if there's a guy that's going to try it, it's going to be Tyler Reddick because he likes to put that thing right up against the rim.
Yeah, and you don't want to be the first one up there putting all that rubber down. It wears out the tires a little bit quicker, and especially the first run here, I've always wanted to stay in the tire tracks of the other cars.
So let's look at our 4 track facts before we go green. Just about a half a lap away from doing so here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We go on board with Chase Briscoe. It was that 98 car rather, that won this race a season ago with Kevin behind the wheel. Ford has 10 Atlanta victories, and that's the most coming from Mark Mark, of course, driving for Jack Roush and the Roush Fenway organization, most wins all time by organization. You saw Kevin's victory there last season, got the season sweep or the weekend sweep here in 2018. And I'm curious, when we talk about Atlanta, the battle of patience and aggression, because you have to take care of your equipment at this place.
Well, I feel like you have to take care of it, but you have to go. And, you know, people always ask me, they'll say, well, why are you taking care of your car? I'm not taking my car. I'm going as fast as I can go to hit the bottom. And to me, it's all about minimizing your mistakes, because when you make a mistake here and you miss the bottom in 3 and 4, it's half a second. If you give up a half second there and a half second down there, you've given up a second to the guy who hasn't made a mistake. Minimize those mistakes and just hit your marks.
Qualifying rained out earlier today, puts Cole Custer on the pole. Chad Fincham was up there with him. He drops to the rear. Also on the front row now will be Noah Gregson, the rookie for Junior Motorsports. Second race in 2019. Sit back, relax, and enjoy a great afternoon. It's a NASCAR doubleheader starting off with the Xfinity Series live on FS1.
Some black marks going down already from the outside front row. This place is one of the toughest tracks to get power down on a restart.
Yeah, that inside line is such an advantage here, and then you see Christopher Bell get up underneath Cole Custer there to take the lead right off the bat. So the restarts are going to be critical today, but you do not want to be on the outside.
So that 7 car, Allgaier going to the outside. 22 is Austin Cindric. Just behind him, Gregson went from 2nd to 5th on this opening lap in the 9.
You can see the mist on the cameras as we're panning around the racetrack. We were just out there in our practice session, and every time you go through one of those little clouds of mist, it gets your attention, just in case you're wondering.
Got to be distracting. You see it here as we go on board with Ryan Preece.
Well, you just never know how hard it is actually raining. So you're depending upon the guys up on the spotter stand. NASCAR has people placed around the racetrack, and you're depending upon them to say it's raining too hard or not hard enough. But because on the windshield, it sure does look a lot harder.
23, John Hunter Nemechek on the move. His dad, Joe, won here a number of years ago, bringing Tyler Reddick with him. 2 cars started 12th, working the bottom line early on.
There's so much change in the series. You talk about Tyler Reddick in the 2, wins the championship at Junior Motorsports. Now he's at RCR. You saw John Hunter Nemechek go by in the 23 car there for GMS, and he was at Ganassi last year. So it's always interesting to me to see that mix of crew chief and driver and that chemistry that's developed between the guys. And you always have a lot of enthusiasm at the beginning of that relationship. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see as the year develops.
At 9, a little squirrely early, huh?
Yeah, as Kevin was saying, you know, if you miss your marks a little bit, you can lose a half second per side of the racetrack, and that's exactly what's happening. On top of that, John Hunter Nemechek is really painting that yellow line. And you can see the 9 trying to get down there now since he was passed by John.
This is the battle for second. 00 is Cole Custer. Just behind him, 22 of Austin Cindric. You know, Team Penske has never won here at Atlanta, one of 3 tracks where they've not been able to find victory lane in the Xfinity Series. I think Cindric gives them a real good shot. That 22 car in recent years has been great everywhere. And after a top 5 at Daytona, he's had 4 in a row in that category. The young kid from Mooresville, really confident right now. And speaking of the 22, maybe no friends early. Here's Justin Allgaier.
Number 22, he does it again. I'm wrecking him. Just nice and cool now. Don't blame me for being mad, though.
Here's what he's talking about. What do you guys see?
They're over on the far left of the screen. Looks like the 22 is going to come up a little high. I mean, it's not ideal in that situation, but the 22 had his hands full, and thankfully the 7 was on his toes and cut him a break.
Yeah, and it looked like the 22 actually stopped. I'm sure from Justin's seat it felt like he was going to slide all the way up in front of him. But like Jimmy says, when you cross those seams, the back of the car kind of steps out across the seams, and you have to correct it. And sometimes you get a big run off the top, so they just meet in the wrong spot over there. So it's I don't know.
As a guy that's in my seat, that's what I love about starts and restarts. It puts you guys in places you don't want to be in. Yeah. Sometimes that doesn't always work out.
No, it always does. We're just, focusing in on the 22 car, and to watch Austin, mature and grow through the different series and ranks has been really interesting to see. He's progressed so much, and I finally had a chance to spend some time with him a few weeks ago. Got a go-kart and go to the GoPro go-kart track there in Mooresville, and our garage stalls are right next to one another, and spent a lot of time with him. Not only a great guy, but certainly can get behind the wheel and is maturing quickly.
Look at this group. You got Michael Annett in the 1, who won last week at Daytona. Outside of him in the 4, Ross Chastain. Jeffrey Earnhardt is there. The rookie Justin Haley, and just behind them, Ryan Sieg. A nice little group from 10th on back.
Yeah, and once again, we see Ross Chastain, he's overachieved in this 4 car. They've done a great job, and back in there with some bad luck with the 42 car shutting down. He was able to win a race last year, so hopefully they can keep it rolled again this year.
One word, payback. 22 goes high. Allgaier driving through in the 7, no issues. That was for 3rd.
Yeah, and here's the thing, that 22 car took off really good. And I think today is a day where you could see Justin Allgaier's experience really pay off with that consistent patience of hitting your marks and doing what you need to do to make lap time. And now you see him go right back by the 22 after about, I don't even know how many laps we've run, 5 or 6 laps here.
Just to add to Ross Chastain a little bit, I think he's running the triple, right?
All 3, yeah.
I would call it all 4, because when I went for a run the other morning, I saw him pull in his truck and trailer, and was parking his truck and trailer so he could sleep through the night.
Well, he's a dedicated guy. He's from Florida. Family is in the watermelon business. They're watermelon farmers, so he knows what hard work is all about. Just underway here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Christopher Bell showing the way. He's led every lap so far in the Xfinity Series.
We had a great time.
I went to Indiana to see family in the offseason. No Dubai trips for me.
I went next door to watch Keelan ride his motorcycle and maybe a quick trip to Florida or something. But
there was plenty of sand where we were.
How far did you ride the Camel? Sorry about my voice today.
No, not very far. Just a short little ride, but it was definitely an interesting experience.
Yeah.
My kids were all about it.
You couldn't wait to get off the Camel, but you didn't want to get out from behind the wheel of that F1 car. I know you had a good time with that.
That was just incredible, and I still can't believe I had a chance to drive it, and honestly, a whole day behind the wheel. That car does everything you ask it to. It was just mind-blowing to experience it.
Just about halfway through stage 1 here at Atlanta, and the dominator so far has been Christopher Bell. Of course, he's in that 20, had a good run last week at Daytona. Second place is Cole Custer, who got the pole after qualifying was rained out. Look back to third, you see Justin Allgaier. 5 wins a season ago for the kid out of Illinois. Solid start here today. Rest of the top 5. Oh man. What's that feel like?
Yeah, that is loose. Little free off.
Yeah, and that's a really strange part of the racetrack. As you get up off the bottom, and if you're on those seams like there, you can see the left rear tire started on that seam, and then the right rear tire's on the seam, and once those tires get on the seam like that, it gets out of control.
So he's probably a little free before that, and as you're behind the wheel, you're trying to get enough momentum to cross the seam, and the right rear tire just got hung up on it, and dead sideways he was.
What's the latest on driver 7, Regan?
Well, as you guys saw right there, very loose when he went up top. A little surprising that he even headed up to the top of the racetrack. He told me before the race, because there was such a limited amount of practice this weekend, he didn't want to go up there and wear his tires out, so I'd expected to see him stay on the bottom like we see right now the rest of the day.
Take a bit of a conservative approach.
Well, I can tell you, if I was in this race, I'd be on the bottom. And the bottom is going to be the dominant line if you can get the bottom right and hook the line. And, you know, like you see that car right there of the 22, he's not far enough down, in my opinion. You've got to cover that yellow line with the left front tire.
What's happening with the driver for Team Penske, Matt?
Austin Cindric told his team a few moments ago, the car not quite balance-wise like it was yesterday. He said, in fact, it's on the splitter too much early in this run.
Being on the splitter is kind of complicates, at least from my experience, that bottom lane. As Kevin was talking about trying to hook that yellow line, it's kind of rough down there, and then you have the flat surface of the apron with the banking of the track, and as the splitter's moving up and down and it's tagging the ground, it makes it really hard to paint that yellow line.
Yeah, and as we follow John Hunter here in the 23 car, you'll be able to see exactly what Jimmy's talking about. When the car goes in the corner, you'll let off the gas and you'll try to trail brake it a little bit, and you'll go down to the bottom, and that thing will hit the bumps in all the wrong spots. That was a really good corner by John to be able to keep that car down, but you can see the back dancing all around as you go through the corner. As you get down to 3 and 4 down here, it even gets worse because there's a big bump right about there, and then you think you're going to get the car set, but if you can get that left front tire in that trough, it'll pull the car all the way around the corner and really make good lap time.
What's wild is you're down there digging, trying to make it work. You're working the pedals, the car's bouncing, and you think there's no way that this is taking care of the tires. There's no way this is going to be fast. And then you maybe move up or see somebody that's up high, and it feels smoother and easier up there because there's less bumps, but it just wears the tires out so much quicker the higher you go.
And while you guys were talking, we saw Tyler Reddick is up to 6, knocking on the door of the top 5 after starting 12th. And here's Brandon Jones in the 19, third last week at Daytona. A good start here this afternoon, and his teammate moving forward, Earnhardt, dropped back to 15th at the start of this race. Jeffrey now has it up into the 8th position. He's really done a great job in limited action early on for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yeah, we were talking about all the different drivers and different cars and crew chiefs, and then you see an Earnhardt driving a Toyota. You know, so that just tells you, you know, that there's a lot of change in the sport and a lot of things changing around. But for him, for Jeffrey, it's been a great change. And, you know, last week at Daytona, running up in the front, and today he's having another good run moving forward. So good to see Jeffrey running good.
Neat last week that Earnhardt in the form of Jeffrey led all those laps early at Daytona. And Earnhardt won again at Daytona with Dale Jr. going to victory lane with Michael Annett. You saw him there in the 1. He's 10th, just behind him. The 11 of Justin Haley won that opening stage last week. Nice debut race as a rookie. And another rookie struggling a bit early today. Noah Gragson finds himself back in 12th.
Back of the car is coming out first. Good four, we'll get it banked up, man. Yeah, after it. I'm wrecking loose still. Good four, man. I understand where the car is at. We'll work on it out there. We'll get you fixed up.
Yeah, and here's what happens. You get a guy like Noah Gragson. He comes from the truck series. He goes out there in practice. He runs wide open for a couple laps, and the car's able to move all around the racetrack while the track's green. And they drop the green flag, and the cars are sideways. And that is a very, very common trend that happens here at Atlanta in this particular series for sure, in the truck series as well, is just the fact that you practice. You want your car to turn, and then you go into racing, get all the cars on the racetrack, and it's spinning out.
John Hunter Nemechek gets a spot there. He's a rookie. So is the 98 of Chase Briscoe. What about his car so far, Regan?
Well, he's happy with his race car so far, Adam, but he told me earlier this week, crew chief Richard Boswell sent him a video of him racing the 60 car here last year, and he was up by the wall. He told Chase that if he sees him up by the wall, the entire team is going to line up and punch him in the arm after this race. So far, I've seen all of Chase's move coming on the bottom of the racetrack, much like Kevin Harvick in that car last year.
These young drivers just so impressive. We talk about Chase Briscoe, who's plus 16 spots in the early going, and we saw Tyler Reddick get in another position. You have to be able to perform early at Atlanta, a 250-mile race. You don't have a lot of time to get your work done.
No, it's a short one. You really got to get going, and that also leads into this temptation to run different lines and to try to search around the track and get people on the short run. It's a really weird mental game that you have to play with yourself and just drive the car at 100% each and every lap and know that you don't have a lot of time to get anywhere.
13 laps to go in our opening stage here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Christopher Bell leading. Custer, Allgaier, Nemechek, Reddick, your top 5.
40 drivers, 3 months of anticipation.
Everybody's in brand new fire suits. Everybody's in brand new paint schemes. Pit crews getting back into race mode. In the race shop, we're building new cars.
Let's go racing drivers!
We got to live with each other for 36 weekends.
Get out of my body.
People are going to get pissed off. There's a lot of crazy maneuvers that guys will do.
Look at that 9 car.
We live for those intense situations. Second place is just the first loser.
Are you going to lead, or are you going to be led? You're going to be ruled by routine, or take a different route? You're going to push yourself, carve your own path all the way to the top, or are you going to be led? The all-new Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2019 Truck of the Year.
I'm a champion.
Get an average $10,767 in total values on select all-new 2019 Ram 1500 models in dealer stock.
Staying at Hampton for a work trip. When your flight gets in late, it's never too early for coffee. Oh, no. Your new boss seems cool, but she might not be sweatpants cool. Who is that ready this early? It's only 7 a.m. Somebody help me. Close call. Not quite ready to face the day? That's why we're here with free hot breakfast and a warm welcome. Book at Hampton.com for our price match guarantee. Hampton by Hilton.
I'm going to open up 2 beers. Okay. You tell me what sounds more refreshing. Gotcha. This one? Or this one?
Bush. Definitely the one that went Bush. What beer is that?
Are you being serious?
Yes.
It's Bush.
Right.
Bush.
continues to lead here at Atlanta. We're down to 9 laps remaining in this first stage, and things are tight at the front. You know, Bell has already put half the field a lap down, but working through that lap traffic has allowed Cole Custer to get back to him here.
Yeah, and a lot of times when your line is taken on the racetrack and you try to move somewhere else, you have no rhythm and your car just doesn't feel the same. It feels like it drives terrible when you put it somewhere else on the racetrack because you've been in such a rhythm running the bottom or running the top wherever you've been running. But the thing that Jimmy and I were talking about with the 20, he's been really aggressive in trying to put that thing right on the yellow line. And when he does it, it just looks all chopped up and doesn't look like it's flowing for him. So
how about that line? Going in high, Jimmy.
That used to be the way to get around here until Kevin got the bottom working like he has and completely changed our sport. The other thing that's difficult when you're in traffic running another car down is there's a huge weight that comes off of our race cars. And right now, Christopher's in clean air. He has a certain rhythm. He has his lift points. He can figure that out. You get behind somebody and roll in and you've got 30 or 40% less downforce. You can't lift at the same spot. You can't use as much brake. You can't go back to the throttle as hard as you once did. And you just leave that bottom, leave the yellow line and have some trouble.
I like Reddick early. Started 12th, already 4th. He's feeling good.
If anything, he just needs a little bit better fire off. I mean, we're so good on the long run, I'd hate to see him lose anything.
Yeah, Randall, that takeoff don't matter. The way he's running right now, he'll make it up. Yes, sir, I agree completely. It's all about the long run, and he's really good there.
You know, and really where all this started for me and having so much success here was at RCR, and we went through a lot of different versions of what we needed to do and how we needed to make things go. And that's Richard Childress talking on the radio right there, and he's exactly right. If you can just stay close on the short runs, the long run is you're going to kill them. Yeah, so Tyler's, he's doing a really good job of keeping that left front on the apron all the way around the corner. Yeah, now he's literally on the apron. So, he's eventually, and it's like we talked at the beginning of the show, you just got to wear them down and make less mistakes than they do. And if you're doing that and you're consistent lap after lap and not having those half-second swings in lap time, you're going to make up time or drive away.
How flexible does setup have to be here? Do you have to have some maneuverability to be able to make it work?
I've found recently that to run the bottom and to hook the line and kind of chase the line further around the corner, you've got to set up for that and be committed to it for the entire race. You might be able to move up in traffic and get by some guys, but you really have to stay disciplined to that low lane.
And look, every lap here is different. For me at least, it's like you go in there and the lap before you drove in there a little bit too hard, you back up, and then you're going too slow, and then you try to adjust the next lap, and then you hit the bump different, or you hit the apron too hard. There's just so many things going on inside the car here that it's hard to, be consistent lap after lap and do the same things.
Just watching that in-car footage reminded me of something. I don't know if you do the same thing, but when you're following somebody through the center of the corner, you're hopeful that they don't get to the yellow line and take away all the air. And when they miss it, it gives you so much hope in the center of the turn. You're like, oh yes, I'm going to get a little air on my left front and plant the car.
Ryan Preece goes by Jeffrey Earnhardt, maybe not so fast. Earnhardt battling back, 2 laps to go. Opening stage, Christopher Bell leading his advantage almost to second over Cole Custer, who's the runner-up right now. Allgaier, Reddick, and Jones complete the top 5. I'm really impressed with the entire group from Joe Gibbs Racing. Bell, obviously, has led every lap. Good start for Jones, who's 5th. He's an Atlanta kid, always wants to do good here. And we talked earlier about Jeffrey Earnhardt, who's solidly inside the top 10. 1 lap to go here in this 40-lap stint to start things off.
I kind of feel like Christopher Bell has a future in racing. What do you guys think?
I think he's going to make it.
Okay.
How about this last year? He won 6 stages, but only 1 time. Did he do so on a 1.5 mile track? Of course, he won those 7 races last year. By far and away, the best year a rookie ever had in this series. He's picked up where he left off. 6th last week at Daytona, and he's going to win our opening stage here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Second goes to Cole Custer. Allgaier, Reddick, and Jones the top 5. But no doubt who the man is early on today. It's Christopher Bell.
The first chair?
They chain him down now.
That's what I felt like yesterday. I wanted to throw a chair.
So Christopher Bell led every lap in that opening stage. We mentioned the top 5 going to break. Other drivers scoring points. John Hunter Nemechek was 6th. Jeffrey Earnhardt 7th. Cindric, Preece, and Briscoe complete the top 10. Briscoe went from 28th to 10th. They're heading to pit road. Regan Smith is there.
Well, Justin Allgaier hits the 40th pit box. He has a little concern over something he hit on the racetrack. He wants his team to look at the nose of his race car. Loose off is the biggest problem he's got right now. And Christopher Bell, loose off for him as well. He's having a little bit of trouble on the throttle getting off of the corners. Matt?
Regan, a number of drivers have been warned, keep an eye on the pit boxes. They are damp. They could be slick. Cole Custer in a 00. They've already made the track bar adjustment, trying to tighten him up. Too free, especially down in turns 3 and 4. And the 2 car, they didn't want to make any change except for putting a piece of tape on the grill because he said the car is so good we could go either way adjustment-wise, but we're not going to improve it.
Those Joe Gibbs teams holding serve on pit road. Christopher Bell comes in the leader. He exits with a top spot. Obviously, Atlanta, everybody getting 4 tires. Custer comes off 2nd. Then it's Jones, Allgaier, and Earnhardt.
Hey, Christopher Bell, this is Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, and Adam Alexander up in the booth. It looks like you can move that car anywhere on the racetrack, and running the bottom, it looked like that thing was bouncing around a little bit. How's it going out there, and what's the preferred line for that 20? Looks good.
Yeah, I mean, the top of 1 and 2 seems to be quite a bit better and faster for me, but I've been working hard at trying to get better on the bottom down there, and I don't know, just don't quite haven't figured out yet. So the good thing is the top's really good to me, and the bottom's pretty easy to hit down in 3 and 4. So I feel good right now. Hopefully we can make it a little bit better.
All right, bud, looks good. Keep it up.
I'm concerned. If he doesn't have it figured out yet, what's going to happen when he gets it figured out? He's been dominating, led all 42 laps, stage 2, when we return to Atlanta. First time in our Xfinity booth for Jimmy Johnson, so we loaded up the highlight reel. Your favorite moments from Atlanta?
Just moments. I remember Blaney dominating that race. I remember being on the couch watching Kevin win, and just for our sport, what that day was for. Or, you know, what we all experienced that day emotionally. Then for myself, emotionally, to win after the plane crash in 04 and dedicate that to everyone we lost on the aircraft. And then one memory that I had to put one in that wasn't my favorite by any stretch, and that was this one. I think Carl Edwards' first victory, and one that I let get away with about 50 yards to go or 100 yards to go.
Ironically enough, that was Carl's first Cup win, but I think his first career Xfinity win came the day before. First driver to get the weekend sweep, and the only other driver to do that was Harvick last season.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you stumble upon things by accident, so it's definitely fun to go back and think about those old moments. And there's been so many great moments, and you look back at all the Earnhardt moments with Bobby Labonte, those couple years in a row with the finishes that they had in '99 and '98. So, you know, this place has produced some great finishes.
Christopher Bell, the first off pit road. We were talking during the break how good the Joe Gibbs guys were at delivering on the pit lane. Now, here's our Xfinity fastest pit stops. Good news, bad news for Ryan Preece. Good news, he's at the top of the board here at 14.5. Bad news is he came off 6. Will have to drop to the rear, removing equipment from the pit box. Tyler Reddick, who had worked his way from 12th to 4th, will restart right around 10th because they had some issues on their stop as well. So the lineup looks like this. Bell, the control car, takes the inside lane. He's the race leader. On the front row with Cole Custer. Then it's Brandon Jones, Justin Allgaier, row 2. Row 3 is Earnhardt and Preece, and I'm showing Preece out there. So I said he was penalized. Perhaps NASCAR retracted that, and he will start outside of row 3. Good news for him, and I apologize for trying to send him to the back.
It'll be interesting here to see if that outside line goes any better, because typically it doesn't go very good. So we'll see how that works out here on this restart.
Pace car is off. Green flag going back in the air to begin our second stage. Let's crank it up live from Atlanta.
Copy, Jack. 19, 18 are clear. 1 off. Still good, all bottom. Slow in front, go up top. You have to, want it. Keep them momentum. Still inside, you're all clear, all clear. There, still there. No room behind. everywhere. Hold your line, hold your line, hold your line now. Inside now, inside. Not at all, we're all good to run wherever you want. Clear, protect the bottom, protect the bottom, protect the bottom. Half bottom 7. This one. Clear on both, clear, clear, clear. Did a great job with that. They're still double wide. You're more outside 30, and we're going to lose a couple here, but it'll be all right. Run your line here. You're clear, 39, trying to get your right rear. Here he is outside now. Nothing else, nothing else. All clear here. Get in your rhythm now.
One of the great things about Atlanta Motor Speedway, and I said this earlier, the restarts, and that one was very entertaining.
There's a lot going on these restarts.
A lot for many drivers, including 98 of Chase Briscoe, 9 of Noah Gregson. You see him here.
Ooh, yeah, that was close to being bad.
That could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
They got away with one there.
And tough for Briscoe, who started 28th, because, you know, we set the field by owner's points, and they really didn't have much from last year. He drove up inside the top 10, but now he finds himself 14th, and that damage will impact him how much going forward, Ken?
Well, you know, with these new fiberglass bodies, you know, I don't think that that's going to be any big deal. But, you know, I think as you saw the 23 go under the 98 right there, and the 9 coming on the top, there was just a lot going on for Chase at that particular moment. And I heard Timmy Fidua telling him to run his line. So when I hear that, I hear somebody saying, you're going to get beat up on this restart here a little bit, so try to minimize the damage.
I heard that too. It was like, run your line, got to run your line. And I'm thinking, easier said than done from the spotter stand, right?
Well, I tell you that the hardest thing on these restarts is you run they were running 34-second laps, and now you're going to go back out there and you're going to run, you know, a low 31-second lap, and so that rhythm is totally different at a 31 flat than it is at a 34 flat. 3 seconds difference in lap time is a massive difference in how you drive the car. So, you know, you progress through that whole run, the car's slowing down, you're slowing down, you're letting off more, you're using the brakes, and you have to adapt your driving style, and you have to remember how to take off on new tires.
I was going to say, you got to adjust your mindset in those situations. What's going on with Justin Allgaier, Regan?
Well, Adam, we highlighted on his pit stop that he thought he hit something, and we also highlighted at the start of the race that possibly the seam filler was coming off the track a little bit. Take a listen to this.
Tar that they fill all the cracks with, like in the wheels. It might be just plastered on the headers too. As you go here, you might smell some of that burning. Yeah, 10-4, it's all over the racetrack too. That's what I honestly think I hit earlier with the left run. It was hard to tell, but it's all over the track. Chunks like we took out yesterday are all over the groove.
Atlanta did a very nice job of resealing these seams, but unfortunately that stuff is being a little bit of a nuisance for the drivers as it's coming up some.
Just something else to think about, as if there's not already enough. Cindric is 5th in the running order, Matt.
Not the run he thought he would have going into this event. Now he's back down on the bottom. He was pinned to the outside. That first run, Austin said he could not run the bottom at all. The car was way too free, especially hurt him on drive-off. 2 different changes to that race car during the break. They're hoping to see if it's going to really affect it big time.
You know what I like about this team? The fact that you've got a young driver partnered with a crew chief in Brian Wilson who has enjoyed great success. And I think we're already starting to see that chemistry develop just a couple of races into 2019.
Yeah, and he's made a lot of gains. Austin has come a long ways since he started in the truck series. I mean, he started in the truck series, hit a lot of things, made a lot of mistakes, and then he started consistently running in the top 5, won a race, and now he's come over here and, you know, had to learn how to adapt to this style of car and racing, and it's been fun to watch the progression, but he's got a great team to lean on.
Yeah, he made it to the championship 4 as a rookie in the truck series, driving for Brad Keselowski. Was in Brad's Cup car earlier today in practice. Brad a little under the weather. Cindric 5th right now, halfway through our second stage. On the Fox Sports app. The weather here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, really nice yesterday. Got cool yesterday evening. It's been damp today. The track really has been in good condition, but there's been this fog that's hanging around. 54 degrees, so it's still a little cool. And this is the first of 2 races today, a doubleheader. Xfinity cars first, following on FS1. It's round 2 for the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. It comes your way right around 4:30 Eastern time.
We need some windshield wipers on those, cameras.
We do. Yes. There's Tyler Reddick, who had made all that ground up in the first stage, lost it on pit road, and he circled back to the front. And Cole Custer fast as well, going to the outside of the 19 of Brandon Jones for the number 2 position.
It's been interesting watching a few guys really get the bottom working. Cole's been pretty disciplined in making it work and been putting pressure on the 19 for a while now. Also, Ryan Preece, Kevin and I were talking during commercial. Something's clicked and he's got it. He's got that left front and the left rear locked on that yellow line, and his car is cycling vertically through the swells as it should. But now that he's got that left rear locked on the line, it's not moving left to right and beating up the tires, and he's able to wrap that line really far around up off of turn 2.
Yeah, and it may not pay off for him in this particular stage because you're really only going to run about 30 laps here in this stage. But I think if he can make his car a little bit better and continue doing what he does when they have to run a whole run of 45 or 50 laps, I think that is really going to pay off for him. But he's definitely had a few laps. That last lap wasn't very good. I don't know if he was in traffic or not. That lap was definitely better, but still the guy that's got the lap time is Christopher Bell, and he's going to continue to lead if somebody else can't figure out how to gain a tenth and a half, maybe 2 tenths.
He's came out of the gates really strong today, and obviously you would expect that out of him. You go back to last year, he started on the pole, finished 3rd, but he finished behind you and Joey Logano. And on a regular basis throughout his rookie campaign, he was the only series regular that could get up there and compete on a week-to-week basis with the Cup superstars that were coming down and running in the Xfinity Series.
Well, this is a big day for everybody in this race today, because you look at a guy like Christopher Bell. If he could win today, I mean, that locks himself into the playoffs. It gets him to a point where if they want to try something and they can be more aggressive on stage points and trying to score points and go after race wins and things like that. So it just opens the door up to do so many other things when you finally get to victory lane, especially when you do it early in the year.
Can't believe this, but we're already down to 14 laps to go in this second stage. And back to the top 5 goes Tyler Reddick. Final stage, keep an eye on the 2 car. He's had a lot to fight through today. Already finds himself 5th here with 13 laps remaining in stage number 2.
40 drivers, 3 months of anticipation.
Everybody's in brand new fire suits. Everybody's in brand new paint schemes. Pit crews getting back into race mode. In the race shop, we're building new cars.
Let's go racing drivers!
We got to live with each other for 36 weekends.
Get out of my behind!
People are going to get pissed off.
There's a lot of crazy maneuvers that guys will do.
Look at that 9 car!
We live for those intense situations. Second place is just the first loser.
Let's go places.
Check out the Spring Fishing Classic at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, where you can trade in an old rod and reel and save even more on a new one. Plus, huge savings, like 50% off spools of Berkley Trilene fluorocarbon line.
There are better-known tractors in the world than Coyote. Ones with bigger names, longer histories, more popular hats, cute toy lines. But there's not a single tractor ever been built that's better equipped to do the dirty work. So we'll let the others keep their squeaky clean images. And we'll focus on what really matters. Coyote, we dig dirt.
3, 2, 1, here we go.
Welcome to our NASCAR Race Hub.
From the green flag at Daytona to the checkers at Homestead.
in the car,
That close might get you on race up.
under the hood, and hanging with the drivers.
A little love fest here. Gordon, Harvick, Knaus, and of course the champ.
We've got the drama, the stories, the science.
New levels of analysis and storytelling for the sport.
NASCAR Race Hub, weeknights at 6 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app.
It's the biggest game in the Big East. Marcus Howard and the 11th ranked Golden Eagles. Phil Booth and the defending champs. Marquette, Villanova, Wednesday at 9 Eastern on FS1.
Terrific tribute. Things change, but the racing,
Big crash, turn 30.
that never changes. NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series.
At Atlanta, the low groove is probably one of the biggest things that we all try to work on. Kevin's obviously kind of perfected it, but it's just going to help you in the long run. It's going to help you save your tires.
I think when you think of the low groove Atlanta, you got to think of Kevin Harvick.
Everyone tries to mimic what Kevin Harvick does, but nobody has been able to really duplicate what he's doing.
You know, we've all seen Kevin Harvick do it for so many years. It's just putting that left front right on it and never coming off it.
You know, it's funny, that's what Jimmy said about coming to the broadcast booth today. I just want to do what Harvick does. You know,
Yeah.
we all want to be like Kevin Harvick,
I don't know about that. Depends on what day it is. Some days are better than others.
Today, I'd like to be like Christopher Bell.
Yeah, no kidding. I tell you, though, the two-car of Tyler Reddick is matching his lap times. He's really the only one that's matching his lap times, and he's actually run a few laps that are faster. And we kind of... Hopefully this doesn't go the way it went for Ryan Preece here, because we're going to brag on him. And the way that he's able to run the bottom of the racetrack right here, his car is just smooth and it looks really good, especially on the long run. So, you know, if he gets the track position, I believe he can contend with Christopher Bell.
And the thing is, he's had to earn it today, because he started 12th, drove to 4th, and had the problem on pit road, and he's driving back up and about to get 3rd from Brandon Jones. Two-car is fast right now. What do you have for us, Matt?
5 to go until the break, and Brandon Jones says this run the car much tighter down in turns 1 and 2. Now his spotter, Chris Lambert, who won the Daytona 500 last week with Denny Hamlin, was telling him what the 00 was doing, especially on entry. As you see the two take that position, he was saying where he's beating you and everybody else at this point is right on entry, the 3rd mark. He can get to the bottom and roll so much better.
And Brandon Jones, Matt, has a new crew chief in 2019, Jeff Mendering, Kevin's older brother that you're working with, Jimmy. Just keeping it all in the family there.
It is in the family, and those guys are pretty smart. I'm having a great time with Kevin, and it's great to see Jeff having his opportunity.
Nemechek went from 6th to 13th on those pit stops at the end of stage 1. They had a problem, 23 rallying back and trying to get in a position to get one of those stage points here at the end of this second stage.
Wow.
John Hunter was committed to that lane.
He was committed that Justin was going to let off, and luckily Justin did let off. So that probably won't make Mr. Allgaier very happy as he tries to get to the back bumper right there.
And the guy that might benefit, 98 of Chase Briscoe, who's just waiting for him to have some trouble. 3 laps to go, second stage.
Stage racing, man, it makes everybody do things that, gosh, we never thought about doing before. I've joked about it before, but Mark Martin watching this stuff's got to just lose his mind the way Mark taught us all to race so respectfully and, you know, point each other by, especially at a track like this. It's like, go ahead, go wear your stuff out, and you know, when I get back to you, I expect that same respect in return.
This is the give and take of Atlanta, right? You pass a guy, you feel good about yourself, and then 6-8 laps later, he's going by you. 2 laps to go here. The pits are closed.
Well, it's just so easy to miss your mark here. And when you miss your mark and then you get hung on a seam, or you get stuck in the middle and then get hung on a seam again, you know, the problem just compounds and piles up as you go through making a mistake, and it just costs you a ton of time.
Remember late in stage 1 when Cole Custer had pulled up to the backside of Christopher Bell? It's not happening in stage 2. The advantage for driver 20, almost 5 seconds as he goes off of turn 2.
He's been pretty dedicated around the top of 1 and 2, and then the bottom of 3 and 4. He's certainly got something working great for him.
Well, the hits just keep on coming. As he comes back and sees that green and white checkered flag, it will mark the first time that Bell in his Xfinity Series career has swept both stages of a race, just like Kevin did here a season ago. Bell batting 1,000. gets stage 1 and stage 2. Cole Custer is second. Then it's Tyler Reddick, Brandon Jones, and Jeffrey Earnhardt. Great job by Joe Gibbs Racing, taking 3 of the top 5 positions. The rest of the top 10, Austin Cindric, Michael Annett, Chase Briscoe came back to 8th. Nemechek was in the top 10, and so was Ryan Freese. Pit stops on the way. We're live in Atlanta with the NASCAR Xfinity Series. We're back in Atlanta, and Jimmy, you said this before the break. Stage racing has changed everything. So John Hunter Nemechek in the 23 slides up in front of Justin Allgaier in the 7. Eventually, at the end of the stage, Allgaier finishes 11th, doesn't get a stage point, and he was not happy.
Yeah, I can understand why. I mean, it's a racing thing. I'm sure at one point off of turn 2, John Hunter heard clear, and he took advantage of that, took it straight to the wall. The 7 was coming, wasn't happy, and here on the cool down lap after the stage, I'm sure Justin's shown him that he's number 1.
Yeah,
kind of how those things
Justin, I told you guys, he's like the mall cop. He's head of security today, letting everybody know where they need to be.
They're on pit road, Regan.
Well, Christopher Bell needs just a little bit more of the same adjustment that he got last time. This race car was too loose off. It stayed with him longer this run than last run. The only thing that he has been asking for is lap times of him in the car that's closest behind him. Matt?
And the 00 Cole Custer, you'll hear his spotter, Joel Edmonds, counting cars, trying to keep him on the inside lane. Track bar adjustment already completed, trying to tighten up the car to help on exit. Meanwhile, the 2 of Tyler Reddick, they put a piece of tape on the last stop. The car was too warm. They were talking about possibly pulling that. Had an issue on that previous stop with the left front lug falling off. Good stop this time.
Last time, Reddick went from 4th to 11th. This time, +1 for driver 2 in that number 1 pit stall. He comes off behind Brandon Jones, and Christopher Bell came off 3rd. All of this is good for Reddick. First time we'll see him up front today.
It is. Let's try to pull up Tyler here on the radio now. Hey, Tyler, Jimmy Johnson, you got us up here in the booth?
I think I heard somebody up in the booth.
Yeah, Tyler, Jimmy Johnson up here, man. Hey, we're just watching you hook that yellow line and make things work pretty good. Looks like you got your track position back. How do you feel about your car here heading to the end?
Man, I don't know. It started to go away there a little bit on me towards the end of that second stage, and I'm not sure. We kind of just took a direction, and hopefully we chose the right way. Just really proud of the effort on our Pinnacle Financial Partners, Camaro. The guys worked hard to make this car really good here this weekend, and Picker did a great job getting us back up in the mix. So we'll see what we can do now. It's a little bit more clean air. Hopefully I can manage the car better and see what it does here.
Well, best of luck, man. Hope you didn't change it too much by our lap times up here. You're the only one really matching the leader with Christopher Bell there. So best of luck.
Thank you.
The hits just keep on coming for Tyler Reddick because the 19 of Brandon Jones speeding on pit road. He's going to have to drop back. That means Reddick will be the man in charge when we return to Atlanta.
So let's do a little walk and talk with you. You had a busy offseason.
I had a really busy offseason.
Big life event happened, right? If I heard correct?
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. I got to surprise my girlfriend, now fiance, with a ring.
It took 5 years, is that right?
Yeah, it'll be 5 years in June, so 4.5.
What took you so long?
I don't know. That's a great question.
You have a dog, I hear about, right?
Yeah. Well,
is your dog a poo-poo dog?
I mean, kinda. It's my little Sadie girl. She's like a little 5-pound, half Bichon, half poodle. So.
Do you really have to go out with an umbrella for your dog to go to the bathroom? Is that true?
Only if it's downpouring.
So Christopher Bell with an umbrella and a little poodle outside.
And you gotta like bend over, right? Like she's out there, I'm getting soaked. But yeah.
She gets the full umbrella.
Yeah, not me, the dog does.
What's the last concert you went to?
It would have been Luke Bryan, so.
Ah, country guy.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Migos song? Can you give me that?
Migos song?
I figured that'd be the answer.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
That sounds like something Regan would ask me. Of course he listens to country music. He's from Norman, Oklahoma.
Well, I can tell you, he better have bought her a big ring, his fiance, because he has a midget inside of his house
Yeah,
that she's good with.
That he won the Chili Bowl.
Yeah,
with.
So, you know, any girl that's going to let you have a midget in the house, that's a midget race car in the house. That's definitely.
Interesting exchange on pit road here as Reddick comes in. He gets the tire off of Cole Custer's changer. That's tough, huh? What happened there, Matt?
Well, number one, the 00 went deep in the box, sliding it in a little too hot. And then when Ryan Mulder went to go around the front of the car, he's the changer. That tire was clipped by the 2, pushed that tire back into his hip. He's good. We're ready for green.
Jones has dropped back after that speeding penalty. Reddick is the control car. Also should mention, he's got the #1 pit stall because in this series, you select pits based on how you qualified the week before. Of course, he won the pole at Daytona. Reddick, Bell in the front row.
A huge benefit for Reddick to have that inside lane on this restart. He's probably going to come out with the lead here, and Christopher Bell's going to lose the track position that he's had all afternoon, and we'll see how his car drives.
Allgaier's ready to go again in the outside lane.
He was right on the verge of passing before the start-finish line on the last restart. So he's definitely feels like he needs to get all he can at the beginning of the run because I think his car gets loose as he runs it.
Chase Briscoe up to 5th in that 98. That orange car, as good as we've seen him all day long. Working on Jeffrey Earnhardt for position.
Now it's really hard for Reddick to control the race at this point. He's been chasing people all day long. Now it's about being smart and smooth and counting on the wake of air that's coming off your car to put Christopher Bell in that 20 at a disadvantage.
Everybody's been on pit road twice, at the end of stage 1, into stage 2. Pit window here somewhere 50 to 55 laps. They'll have to make one more stop, and everyone should have 2 sets of tires remaining. So we'll see how everything plays out here. Have not had a caution for incident yet today. And there's Cole Custer, who went from 2nd to 9th. As Matt talked about the problems on the pit stop, he's 8th right now and trying to get a position away from Noah Gragson.
He was dead sideways through that entire set of turns in 3 and 4. I think his effort level's really high and a little frustrated with that pit stop.
Well, these are the 2 guys that from the lap time standpoint, we thought should be racing for the lead, and I think this is going to be a good battle to the end. The interesting thing that will come into play here is if this race goes green and you get, there's 74 laps to go, so if you split this in half, you take that chance of pitting under green and going a lap down, but you can also make up a ton of time on the guys who are staying on the racetrack and try to run it out. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys split it up if we run green here.
2 missed the bottom a little bit there. He's going to get some pressure from 20.
What's the balance, windshield to mirror, if you're Tyler Reddick here?
You hope it's a lot of windshield, but it's impossible to not feel the pressure and know what's going on behind you. But if you can take a couple deep breaths, calm yourself, hit your marks, just focus on painting that line, it'll just make life more difficult for the 20 behind you.
Left of your screen, battle for position. John Hunter Nemechek in the 23, the 1 of Michael Annett, and the 39 of Ryan Sieg.
Just you and him by 4. Clear,
and there goes Bell. You heard it, all clear. He's making the outside lane work, and the 20 is back on point. Bell, when he comes back to the start-finish line, will have led 82 of our 92 laps today.
And that deep breath needs to come right now from the 2 car, because right now he just needs to keep him close enough to take advantage of what he thinks his strengths are, and that's the middle of the run and the end of the run. You saw Christopher Bell use that top line right there and get a really good run. But in my opinion, as you run longer, that low line should prevail because that top line is hard on the right front tire. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Allgaier to 4th. Could he be a player? And, Cindric is 3rd. He's not letting the top 2 get away. We could have a fun little stretch run in this race.
I don't think you can ever count out Allgaier. Cindric is still kind of finding his way, but certainly showing a lot of strength week after week. But I think when you get down to the end of this, depending on how cautions fall, it could be anybody in the top 5's opportunity to win.
Well, and those guys are willing to gamble, too. And I feel like their car falls off a little bit more at the end of the run, the 7 car of Justin Allgaier, than some of the other cars. So I just feel like they might be the guys that might want to think about short pitting it and could be the guys that have the guts to do it.
Nemechek back in the top 10, trying to bring Ryan Sieg with him. Sieg out of Tucker, Georgia. The team has upgraded their operation. Family-owned group out of Tucker, Georgia. And a lot of RCR equipment. Shane Wilson over there is crew chief, and they have really done some positive things last couple of weeks. Here's Allgaier and Cindric. The battle for 3rd is on with 69 to go.
See Jeffrey Earnhardt lurking there in the background. He seems to be doing a great job staying disciplined there on the bottom as well.
And the 3rd car from Joe Gibbs Racing, Brandon Jones, won the race off pit road, penalized for speeding. Had dropped back around 20th for the restart, finds himself in 14th. We've reached our final stage. It's Bell, Reddick, Cindric, Allgaier, and Earnhardt up front on FS1. a lot of celebrating here at Atlanta today. We did it with Jimmy earlier. Kevin, your favorite moments from Atlanta Motor Speedway?
Yeah, and I tell you, that one's hard to top for me. That was my first win, and you know, with everything where it was in the sport right then was obviously really pretty confusing as to whether you should be happy or sad that day. So to come back and win again last year was the proper way to send a tribute to Dale Earnhardt. And this one, winning in my own stuff with Jimmy John's on board, that was their first win, and obviously you've seen Jimmy John's you know, go with us for a long time, so it's hard for us to win in the Busch Series at that particular time with our own stuff.
We kind of said this earlier when we did our little hit on race day, but the two of you have been incredible at this racetrack. When you look across all the top series, Kevin, you the all-time wins leader when it comes to the Xfinity Series, and Jimmy, of course, 5 wins for you here at the top level of NASCAR. And I think the most amazing thing to me, there were 26 races in between your 2 wins here, Kevin.
Yeah, and you know, the crazy part is I feel like we should have won about 10 of them.
Yeah.
And it just always seemed like something went wrong, or I made a mistake, or did something wrong, and we got beat at the end. We got beat at the end of a lot of them.
I think I got you on one of those.
You got one. Yeah. Casey Kane got us one night here. Boyer spun out one year with like 3 laps to go, and we got beat by Casey Kane. So it's funny how you remember all the ones that you lost, but it's been a great racetrack for us.
You mentioned the Kane win. I didn't realize until this week on NASCAR Race Hub we were talking about it. Hendrick Motorsports has won 4 of the last 8 Cup races here. Yours back-to-back. Gordon had one, and we talked about Casey Kane, and that win, of course, put him in the playoffs. That's when we were coming here Labor Day weekend. So you guys have had some real good success recently here at this racetrack.
You mentioned Jeff Gordon, and it's like, it seems like it's been like 10 years since he raced.
Right.
It seems like it's been forever.
Hey, how about this as we kind of take a trip down memory lane? First ever Xfinity race here, won by Jeff Gordon. It was his first NASCAR win back in 1992. A lot of history for Jeff at this place, but certainly that's a big moment. Of course, we'll see Jeff and Darrell Waltrip tomorrow. 2 drivers, no strangers to success at this place as a part of our coverage. NASCAR on Fox. We were talking during the break. It's been a nice afternoon for Austin Cindric, Matt.
Absolutely. You know, I think Kevin knows more than most the challenges of bouncing from one team to another, especially back in his KHI days. He used the same pitboard sign to help that transition, but for Austin Cindric, 3 teams last year. He told me having just one team to focus on this year, it allows him to look at different aspects of his preparation, mentally coming into the event, and he's not having to worry about different crew guys and to make sure that they've got, you know, his different things that he needs. So really, he's expecting this to be a breakout year for him. His biggest focus, playoff points.
Well, and I mentioned this briefly earlier in the broadcast, but he got in that 2 car during final practice at the Cup level because Brad Keselowski is under the weather. Moments like that, not only good experience, got to help build your confidence when the team trusts you in those situations.
Without a doubt. That's getting the ultimate nod there, and he's certainly shown that he's plenty capable of doing it.
Can you believe there's only 57 laps to go in this race? Already past the century mark. Christopher Bell has not been passed on track today, only on pit road. It's a dominating performance for the kid out of Oklahoma. NASCAR doubleheader today. Trucks coming up following the Xfinity Series, and the weekend wraps tomorrow. Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, second race of 2019 here at Atlanta. We're on FS1 at 12:30 to get things going with race day, and then at 1:30 we're over on Fox. Green flag shortly after 2 Eastern time. It is the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500, and go ahead and raise your hand if in the pool you had the 10 of Eric Almirola on the pole, and the front row joining him would be the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That's what everyone predicted this weekend, right? A little bit of a surprise yesterday.
Well, I think the only people who aren't surprised are the competitors, because I think we all knew that it was going to be so drastically different. And you guys all asked me when I came in here, what do you think about the cars and the race? I'm like, I still have no idea.
I still don't have a clue either.
I have no clue.
Nope.
Maybe this time tomorrow you'll have a better idea of what's happening with this new setup at NASCAR's top level. Matt Yoakum talked about the problems Cole Custer had on pit road. Lost a handful of positions there just moments ago, but he's already worked his way back up to the top 5, maybe trying to get inside of Jeffrey Earnhardt here.
Well, and the guy that I'd like to talk about is Jeffrey Earnhardt in that 18. He's got an opportunity here to really showcase what he can do in the race car. He did a great job at Daytona last week, and Jimmy, like you were saying during the break, this is a tough racetrack to go out and make it happen, and he's just done a phenomenal job in making something out of his opportunity.
I totally agree, and I can identify with having a good run at Atlanta and really boosting my confidence as a race car driver. And Jeff Gordon, Rick Hendrick picked me to drive their car, and we start that 48 team. You know, I didn't have the most successful Xfinity career. You know, I raced a little bit in ASA for a couple of years, but my 5th year ever in a stock car was at the Cup level. And we had a great speed weeks, went down there, sat on the pole, things were moving along, you know, didn't have the best race. We came to Atlanta and I ran in the top 5, and that meant the world to me. And really, you know, my first time in amazing equipment, and had my opportunity to shine and give me the confidence I needed to win, I guess, just a handful of weeks later in Fontana.
You know, Joe Gibbs Racing has really made a statement in the early portion of 2019. All their drivers great last week in the Xfinity cars down at Daytona. Of course, 1, 2, 3 in the Daytona 500. Good qualifying effort yesterday on the Cup side, and here we are again today. NASCAR Xfinity Series. You got Bell leading. You guys talked about Earnhardt, and Brandon Jones has worked his way back up to 8th after that penalty.
Well, one point that you made was a very good point about Joe Gibbs Racing, and is the next few weeks you've got Kyle Busch coming back to the race. So it's important for these guys to get all they can and take advantage of these race wins when you don't have a Kyle Busch in the field.
Well, if Jeffrey Earnhardt, in his limited experience, is running 6th at Atlanta in the 18 car, when you put Kyle Busch in that vehicle next Saturday afternoon at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, it's hard telling what they're capable of.
And I'm sitting here looking at the top 10 on our monitor, and really the only regular name that you'd expect to see in there is Allgaier. The rest of these guys, I mean, obviously Bell, you know, Bell's shown a lot of strength, but to see these, you know, there's young names like Bell that are, you know, going out there and doing a great job. But then you have Jones, Priest, Sieg, Briscoe, Earnhardt. You know, these are names that we're not used to seeing week in and week out in the top 10. And these guys are getting it done today.
And there's a couple of guys just outside the top 10 that have had good afternoons. Justin Haley won a stage last year in his first race with Colleague Racing, driving the 11, and he's 11th right now. Mentioned Michael Annett earlier, coming off that Daytona victory. Not bad for him on the 1.5 miles. He's 13th. And just behind him, Brandon Brown, kind of an unheralded rookie, driving the 86. It's a family-owned team. Brandon just graduated college down at Coastal Carolina, graduated with honors, I might point out. And when he shows up, Trucker Xfinity, he typically is a player and one of those guys that kind of gets more out of his equipment maybe than what you would anticipate he would.
Well, you look at Ross Chastain and kind of the tone that he set for those guys racing in, you know, the equipment that's not where it needs to be in order to compete up front. It really opens up for a guy like Brandon Brown because of what Ross has done. I mean, we have to pay attention to those guys because they might get an opportunity and be able to go out there and make it happen.
Let's think about strategy for a minute. Bell is leading, and he's kind of checked out, almost a 2-second advantage.
Sorry, Cole Custer's dead sideways through the center of the turn.
But if one of these guys is going to go up and catch him, they might need to play a game in regard to strategy. The window is open now to pit and make it. Do you short pit to try to gain some ground on the front end of what could be the final run?
Well, I think it just depends on where you are on the racetrack. You know, if you don't have a lot to lose, which really nobody has a lot to lose at this particular point, it's all about winning a race. And you know, the only thing that the repercussions of that are if the caution comes out and you lose a lap or maybe 2 laps, just depends on where you are on the racetrack. So you want to try to stay only 1 lap down in case the caution comes out.
I think if you're Bell, you're probably one of the later ones to come.
Yeah,
that's where we were able to leapfrog you a couple years ago. We didn't have anything to lose in the Cup race, and we pitted before the 4-car did. Was able to go out there and you know, put a lot of time and distance on them and you know, try to come up with a victory.
First to come in under green, the 1 of Michael Annett, was just outside the top 10, scored in the 13th position. Here comes Stewart Haas teammates Chase Briscoe, the 00 of Cole Custer. Scheduled stops here, Regan.
Scheduled stops for these guys, yes, Adam. The 98 car of Chase Briscoe is being coached to not go too fast, too early. Right now, he's having a little bit of trouble with rear drive on that race car. Matt?
The 00s team waiting for him. Sean Cotton jumps off the wall. They were going to try to pit the lap before. Cole's been complaining the car just too free, center to exit on this run. Cotton comes around. Good pump. Left side tires coming off. Air pressure adjustment on this run. Meanwhile, you can see the 2 car. Here comes Reddick down pit road. Regan.
Justin Allgaier on pit road. They have to reverse the changes from the first stop of the race. His car's been too tight in the center. They're going to give him 4 tires.
And the 2, Tyler Reddick Reddick wanting his car to be tighter on this next run. You can see track bar adjustment already completed, Regan.
Ryan, our leader, the 20 car, he is going to hit pit road and find his pit box right here. His car's been too loose this run, not quite as good as the run before this one. They've been giving him lap times and coaching him up as to where the cars behind him are running on the racetrack.
Jason Ratcliffe not waiting too long after those other guys made pit stops, and they had an issue here. This could be a game changer under green.
Yeah, and really what happened right here, they had some trouble on the right rear, so they had a really long pit stop. But what happened, everybody started pitting, and the 20 knew that if they stayed out there, they were going to lose chunks of time to everybody else on new tires. So it forced their hand to come to pit road. They still got to come later, but it forced their hand to come to pit road to not lose so much time. And to pile on top of that, they were the last one to pit, and they had a bad pit stop.
Brandon Jones coming in with his teammate. You saw him exiting into 19. Noah Gregson has stayed out. He is yet to make what could be his final stop of the day. So he has scored as the race leader, and we will see how it cycles out. And there goes Tyler Reddick by and Justin Allgaier. That really is the battle for the lead once Noah Gregson comes to pit road.
Yep.
What do you guys see here?
So far, things look good. Oh, right rear gets hung up as it's coming off. Looks like it's just got a bad angle on it. And finally get that out there, get the other one hung, and get going. I was surprised they didn't lose more time. I saw on the monitor it was about 2 seconds. The gap was from the 20 to the 2, and to come out, and here they are 3 wide down the back straightaway fighting for the win.
This is for second now, but will be the lead once Gregson stops. They split Reddick. Inside is Allgaier, outside is Bell. This is outstanding with 38 remaining.
Allgaier's been driving the fire out of his car. I don't know if he's going to be able to hang on.
These two drivers combined for 12 wins last season.
And how many races have we watched that Justin Allgaier just shows up at the end of these races? But I think Bell knows right now. He knows he needed to get in front and take control of this race in case the caution or something comes out, which is exactly what he did right there on the top.
He tried to build some drama.
Yeah.
And Bell just ruined it. He has got a fast race car. Gregson leading. Green is out with 37 to go. No one has ever enjoyed a better rookie season in the Xfinity Series than Christopher Bell. It took him 8 races last year, but once he won at Richmond in the springtime, he was in the game each and every week. 7 wins, the most ever by a first-year driver. I kind of wonder, could he challenge the overall record this year, which would be 13 in a season? He's second right now to Noah Gregson, who's going to have to pit probably in the next 10 laps or so. Look at those numbers. It's incredible.
That is incredible, just to come in, and obviously he's sitting in great equipment, but at the same time, he's earned that right to sit in that great equipment, and then he's been able to really connect with the crew chief and team and execute and get the job done.
I feel like he's probably going to be sitting in a Cup car next year.
Very soon.
I think he's definitely earned that opportunity, and where that is, I don't think anybody knows, but I would definitely expect him to be racing on Sundays.
I like the fact, though, they've been patient with him. Ran a year in trucks, did great as a rookie, went to the championship forward. Next year went back, won the championship.
Brake levers.
And they're doing the same thing in the Xfinity Series, and Noah Gregson here going to have to come down pit road, giving up the top spot. There goes Christopher Bell to once again take over the race lead. The 9 was hanging on, but the green flag stayed out. Now they had to make their stop, Regan.
They did try to stretch this run. They had to try something different to get off sequence with the other guys. His car's been very loose all day long. He's been animated on the radio, telling them how loose it's been. They've been making big adjustments to try and get his race car tighter.
And now for second place, Tyler Reddick in the 2, the 7 of Justin Allgaier. This battle almost 2 seconds behind Bell.
Allgaier's effort's been really high. I think here sometime soon those tires are going to have enough, and the patience that Tyler Reddick has shown chasing the bottom is going to pay off.
And we haven't said that too many times in the same sense. Patience and Tyler Reddick over the last
I think
last
after
year.
Homestead last year, I mean, something really clicked for him,
Absolutely.
it appears.
And watching him all day today, you're right. He has been so patient with that car to wait for it to come around and take advantage of his portion of the run.
And to put this in perspective, Richard Childress Racing didn't win in the Xfinity Series in 2017. only one victory a year ago, and a lot of the time they got Cup guys over there competing. So the fact that he's doing what he's doing so early in 2019, a really good sign. Top 3 at Atlanta: Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, Justin Allgaier. 28 to go.
The WBC Super Middleweight title fight is on FS1. Former champion and #1 contender Anthony Durrell looks to reclaim the title as he battles the #2 contender Avni Yildirim.
We've got a great fight. Hands on your feet. He's back to get his world title.
The World Super Middleweight Championship. Durrell Yildirim. Tonight at 10 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app.
Your race weekend got a major upgrade. NASCAR fans, you have 3 days to see what all the buzz, bumping, cheering, confetti, and winning is about. Mark your calendar for the Ticket Guardian 500, March 8th through 10th. Get the best remaining tickets now at ismraceway.com.
That rocking chair would look great in our new house.
Oh, a new house, eh? Well, you...
$2 for the chair.
2? That's a Victorian antique.
All right. How much for the recliner, then?
Wait. How did that get out here? That is definitely not for sale.
Is this a yard sale?
If it's in the yard, then it's for sale.
Here we go.
Geico. It's easy to switch and save on homeowners and renters insurance.
NASCAR fans, are you ready to take your Wi-Fi to the next level? Then you need Xfinity XFi, a more powerful way to stay connected. It gives you super fast speeds for all your devices, Wi-Fi coverage that leaves no room behind, and lets you control your network with the XFi app. It's the ultimate Wi-Fi experience. Xfinity, official partner of NASCAR.
Find the one, bring it home. Get 2.99% APR with 0 down on all new Harley-Davidson touring motorcycles. Schedule your test drive at your local Harley-Davidson dealer.
40 drivers, 3 months of anticipation.
Everybody's in brand new fire suits. Everybody's in brand new paint schemes. Pit crews getting back into race mode. In the race shop, we're building new cars.
Let's go racing drivers!
And we got to live with each other for 36 weekends.
Get out of my box.
People are going to get pissed off.
There's a lot of crazy maneuvers that guys will do.
Look at that 9 car.
We live for those intense situations. Second place is just the first loser.
23 laps to go for the NASCAR Xfinity Series here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So good to have 7-time Cup champion Jimmy Johnson in the booth with us today, and some good things happening with your foundation right now, Jimmy.
Yeah, there is, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it a little bit. Jimmy Johnson Foundation, we've got our 2019 Ride of a Lifetime coming up. And our foundation supports K-12 public education, and we'd love for 5 fans to win a ride, to come with me in the Ally Chevy, and let me scare the daylights out of you. So if you're interested in such an opportunity, JimmyJohnsonFoundation.org, and you'll find all the details there, and I look forward to scaring you.
Awesome program, and you guys are doing great things across the board. We congratulate you on that, and once again, thanks for coming up and being with us. It's going to be a fun year here in the Xfinity booth, and next week, Brad Keselowski going to be with Kevin and me. So he's done this before. His rookie stripe is gone when it comes to the broadcast.
Sounds like it's good sun this week. He's under the weather.
That's right. There's Tyler Reddick, second on the day. What are they saying with 21 to go?
Still 2.5 tenths there, the 20 in front. Good by 6 to the 7. All right, no lap traffic for a while here. Staying over them. North down to Illinois. Keep talking to me, buddy. 10-4, 32.85 last lap. He's at 90.
He's hanging in there, Matt.
You heard where he said, keep talking to me, buddy. After about 3 or 4 laps, it was very quiet. Derek Nealon had gotten him a gap and was just going to let Reddick do his thing and try to reel in the 20, but there was no communication, and Reddick goes, anybody? Anybody? He goes, we're here. He said, just give me info. He didn't like it. He didn't call it.
just hearing the lap time being read to him reminded me of the difference between the Xfinity car and the Cup car. We're so fortunate now in the Cup car that every time we go by the start-finish line, we get the lap time on the dash, and that's what we're looking for to know if we had a good set of corners or a good lap or not. So we're making lots of little adjustments in the car, and to be able to have that lap time and to know that he was a half a tenth faster than the leader, that's what you need for confidence and keep hitting on the right things.
In the last couple of laps, his deficit getting less and less, Kevin.
Yeah. Do you think he's saving? Do you think Bell is trying to just pace himself to make sure that he's got something at the end of the race if he needs it? Or
he is a thinker like that. I wouldn't be surprised.
Reddick's gained on him the last 5 laps. It's going to be 18 to go this time around, and he might have it down under a second, although there was a lap car in between them.
Yeah, and Reddick missed that lap in 3 right there. You saw the sparks come out, and he got off the bottom. And that's really what he has to do right now is minimize those mistakes. And he still ran it. He matched the lap time, but he needs to gain, lap time right now. So he needs to minimize those mistakes so he gains a 2/10 instead of just breaking even.
Well, he's got no margin for error right now.
But look, they all pitted early, so this is still as far as they're going to run on a set of tires, and I feel like that's where Reddick's car is the best, and Bell's we've seen take off and has been good, but I just don't know how much Bell is saving. Is he going to move to the top of the racetrack and try to make that work if he gets close? So it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out.
One thing I noticed the lap before with the 20 cars, the lappers were being nice and getting out of the way and running the top lane of 1 and 2, and that's where where Bell's been able to make so much time and run a different line. As we see there, another 3/10 taken out of the lead.
He's coming.
It's down under a quarter of a second now. I mean, you can see him making up the ground on track. It'll be 16 left when they cross the start-finish line this time. Bell has had the dominant car all day long. Only twice has he lost the top position, and both times it was on a cycle of stops. Once when they came down under caution, the other under green. But right now, he is being hunted big time. Closing on a half a second back is Tyler Reddick. That's the 08 of Greg Alding in between them.
And right now, the 20 car just needs to lock that thing on the bottom, and as the 2 car gets closer, it'll be harder and harder to get those front tires to turn and stay on that yellow line. So Christopher Bell's main concern right now, he knows that bottom line is what the 2 car wants, and he needs to make sure he doesn't miss it so he can keep as much air off the front of that 2 car as he can.
Bell feeling pressure as we see the 98 at Chase Briscoe tire problem there. Gives up a position inside the top 10 to make an unscheduled stop, Regan.
Chase Briscoe had such a solid run from the back of the field going today, but he's got a right side tire that went down. He's going to have to hit pit road to get 4 tires and fix up the right side damage.
It won't be 2 years in a row to victory lane for the 98 team. Here's what happened.
That tire came apart. That right front tire was definitely coming apart.
That concerning for the rest of the competitors. Still 14 laps remaining.
Well, you just never know where everybody is on air, but it didn't look. I mean, I don't think it should be worn out. So it's obviously could have run over something.
Come down.
I know he got into the wall, but he did a heck of a job of hanging on to that and then managing it and swinging down and making that pit stop.
Guys, things are tightening up a bunch up front. I've watched Christopher Bell the last probably 6 or 7 laps. With or without traffic, he's been running that bottom lane. So that kind of tells me that he's in a defensive mode right now. He's been running the top of 1 and 2 and making a lot of time. I think he's not as strong as he wants to be right now, and he's trying to put the 2 car of Tyler Reddick in some dirty air.
And that happens a lot here because you run that bottom line, and what happens as you go through the racetrack naturally gets more rubber on it, but it also grinds the splitter off. And when that splitter goes away, the cars become tighter, and sometimes it's hard to keep up with those changes through the day when that splitter gets to be gone.
From bad to worse for Chase Briscoe. Drove through too many pit stalls when he made that stop a moment ago, so he's going to have to do a pass-through penalty. 12 laps to go. We've talked about Bell and Reddick up front. You see them there. Justin Allgaier is 3rd, but almost 7 seconds behind the leaders. Then it's Jeffrey Earnhardt 4th. Cole Custer is 5th. The rest of the top 10. Great bounce back for Brandon Jones, who found himself way deep in the field after a speeding penalty. Austin Cindric is 7th. He was top 5 most of the day. Ryan Preece, first start for him at Junior Motorsports, is 8th. And the last 2 cars inside the top 10, John Hunter Nemechek and the rookie Justin Haley. On board with Preece here. Zane Smith going to make his Xfinity debut driving for Dale Jr. in the 8 next weekend at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Saw Zane here this weekend. A lot of K&N ARCA experience, was second in the ARCA championship chase 1 year ago. There's the pass-through penalty for Briscoe. Jeb Burton going to drive that 8-car. Some Dale Jr. going to get behind the wheel, a throwback scheme at Darlington later this year.
Well, that's the great thing about Dale Jr. He's not scared to put anybody in there. If it's a late model driver or experienced driver, if he thinks that they have an opportunity and can put him in the car, he will give them that opportunity. So it's fun to see that.
Just to add a little bit more about Zane Smith, I had a chance to meet him when I was out in Las Vegas testing a few weeks ago. I didn't realize that I spent a lot of time racing against his father, in a sense.
Is that right?
His dad, Mike Smith, built a lot of chassis for different off-road trucks that I raced against through all my years of bouncing around the deserts out there in Nevada and Arizona. So really excited for his opportunity.
That family from Southern California like you, right?
Yep, exactly. Same upbringing.
You know, you were talking about all the opportunities Dale Jr.'s given people over the years. He even let you drive his car
a couple times. Yeah, we had fun. Won a few races, but you hear that a lot, don't you?
Hey,
my dad is a fan of yours. I know I do. My grandma loves you.
Loves you.
Yeah.
Look at this, 0.4 of a second. I mean, we've been letting it build, but Reddick is not going away. Down to 0.34 now with 8 to go, and there's a spin. And do we get a caution? Not yet. There it is. First caution for incident today, 8 to go, and everybody has a set of tires.
The game just changed.
Big time. You got to pit, right?
You have to pit.
You have to pit.
Tires are worth way too much here. So
1 to go, you still pit.
You talk about that first pit stall that Reddick has. It could pay off right here.
Nemechek was 9th. Coming off of turn 2, just couldn't save it.
And that's a it's one of those situations where you come up off the yellow line and that car, depending upon how it bounces through the corner, will unload, and sometimes you just can't keep up with it.
Good news for him. I mean, he was 9th, only 12 cars on the lead lap. He's not going to lose a ton of ground here.
No, now he gets a set of tires, maybe gets to improve his position.
Well, we've seen a lot happen on pit road today. As you see the 9 of Noah Gragson, he gets the free pass. You know, that strategy for he and Dave Ellens paid off because they were 15th when he stayed out on that long green flag run. He's 13th now, free pass, and he's going to better his day. Great job by Dave Ellens calling strategy, who, oh, by the way, has won the last 2 championships here in the Xfinity Series.
I won a championship with him as my lead engineer in 2013.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Well, the crazy part, Jimmy, is you've won like a championship with like half the garage. you've won so many of them.
I looked through this crew chief list, and there are a lot of people that have been engineers on the 48 that are on that list.
You've made a lot of those guys famous.
It's been a good relationship for all of us.
Yeah.
You've raced against every kid's dad, and every crew member in the garage has won a championship,
right.
courtesy of you in the 48. 7 to go. They'll get these pit stops with 6 remaining. So we're just going to have a short little shootout to end this thing. And the heroes that go over the wall going to make a huge difference here.
I'm just going to say you either want to be first or third off pit road. Just keep that in mind as this is all unfolding.
You want the inside lane, and Tyler Reddick has the #1 pit stall. That could be big. They're heading your way, Regan.
Justin Allgaier's race car. He is still too tight in the center of the corners, but loose off of the corners. He wants to fire off better is the biggest thing that he's asking for. Christopher Bell, he's too loose as well, but he was getting coached up as to where he needed to run to block the air off of the 2 car that whole last run. Matt?
And the 18 comes to a stop. Jeffrey Earnhardt says his car's still on the tight side, rolling to the center of the corner. You can see the 2 guys at the top of your screen. Solid stop there. A little bit slow on the front, coming around to the left front. The car's up. The 18 is away. Who's going to win this one off, guys?
It's Bell first off pit road. Looks like it's going to be Earnhardt second. So the Gibbs guys getting it done. And look at Tyler Reddick. Big stop. They fall 4 positions. He's going to have a lot of ground to make up and a short time to get back to the lead.
Yeah, and you know, the air gun gets stuck, and that's just part of the game now. But you know, I think the other part
catches on the right front.
Caught on
the hose did.
The other part for him, the beginning of the run was not his strong suit. So you know, I think that the 20 and the 7 will be the guys that have been taken off the best.
That's Jeffrey Earnhardt on the front row.
That's right.
I like that.
Can you imagine the smile on that man's face in that car right now?
He's feeling good. So today, we're on the 1.5 mile at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Next weekend, we're going west. It's 1.5 miles. Las Vegas is where we'll call home next Saturday afternoon.
NASCAR Xfinity Series makes their first stop west in fabulous Las Vegas. The diamond in the desert is fast and bumpy, so these boys will need to attack the track if they want to see their name in lights. Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern on FS1.
Mention it, Brad Keselowski going to be in the booth with Kevin and me, and we said it earlier, Kyle Busch will be in the race next Saturday. Kyle Busch going to be in the truck race coming up next live on FS1 as they do battle for the second time in 2019. So it's all about the guys at Joe Gibbs on the front row. Christopher Bell, who's been the dominator, and Jeffrey Earnhardt. Could we see some magic here?
Well, it's going to be tough on that outside line, and I don't know how hard Justin Allgaier went off of pit road right there, but I think in the back of his mind that he knew he wanted to be third. But regardless of what happens for Jeffrey Earnhardt today, he has had an extraordinary day.
Awesome day. And then for Tyler Reddick, obviously, I think he's going to start back in maybe 6th or so. If he can time it right and get a run at the start-finish line and get to the outside in 1 or 2, he can really make something happen.
Going to be like 3 laps to go here. A couple of other names we should mention. Brandon Jones had a speeding penalty, has worked his way to 4th. That's where he'll be on the restart. And we look at the pit comparison here, and we showed the problems for Reddick, and just an unfortunate break for the guy who's really had a fast race car today.
Yeah, and this didn't play into his strength anyway, but like Jimmy said, his best shot is to put that thing on the rim going through 1 and 2 and just try to keep the pedal down, and maybe they made some adjustments to the tire pressures and things on the car to make it take off better, but it's going to be hard to beat Christopher Bell right now.
And it is. That inside lane that Christopher's going to have, the big push that I would anticipate he's going to get from Justin Allgaier, unless Allgaier can poke his nose out and really put on a good show for us.
I would say that Justin Allgaier, if he is anywhere close, we're going to see him on the inside of Christopher
Left side's
Bell.
in the grass.
That's right.
we know this is going to be aggressive.
Christopher Bell better protect the bottom right here, or he's going to have a 7 car underneath him.
Let's hear from Earnhardt's team.
Nice long breath when you get going. Nice smooth on the throttle. You'll be fine. If I need to shut up, tell me. I'm just pumping up.
Good. I like it. Pumping me up.
Hey, you know who's won more races here than anybody at the Cup level? Grandpa, Dale Earnhardt.
Oh, man. And what a great story for our sport, you know, to see Jeffrey Earnhardt. I want to see him racing all the time, and obviously seeing him in competitive cars and seeing what he has done with it the first 2 weeks shows he deserves an opportunity, and we need him to be around every week.
Should we get a caution here? A couple of guys took the wave around. Brandon Brown, Ross Chastain. They're in the top 15. Caution comes out. They can come down, get their last set of tires, and perhaps they could net a top 10 finish here today. Going to be a 3-lap shootout. Bell obviously takes the inside lane. There's Earnhardt to his right, row 2. Allgaier and Jones, Custer and Reddick on row 3.
So if you're on that front row right now, you're thinking, as Christopher Bell is sitting in the area with the most traction, you're thinking, I'm going to slow these guys down, really make that outside lane have to accelerate hard. And if you're in the outside lane, like Jeffrey Earnhardt is, you're hopeful that 20's going to roll a little bit faster, or even try to roll in there a little hot and pull him along with you, just so you can have a little bit better launch in that restart zone.
Time to make it happen. Green flag waving once again at Atlanta. There goes Reddick. He was blocked off by Earnhardt. Custer to the inside of Allgaier for second. Restart violation on the 23 of John Hunter Nemechek as the leaders come back. 2 laps to go. They're side by side for the runner-up spot. That's Bell leading them around.
Well, we see Cole Custer working his way back up through the field. They had a problem on a pit stop earlier, and now he's finally got the track position back. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can make up a little bit of ground on Christopher Bell, because he's had a great car on the short runs.
It is so tough to get back in the game here when you have a problem. A number of guys have done it today. You talk about Cole Custer, Brandon Jones doing the same. And there they are going at it for 5th. Earnhardt and Reddick. Custer is right on the tail end of Bell. White flag is out. 1 to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank.
We got a race here, boys.
Christopher Bell has dominated this race, leading 142 laps. A late caution, a big restart, and Cole Custer trying to chase him down.
Get up, hit your entry. Wrap your bottom.
Spotter did his job letting Bell know that the 00 closed on him in 1 and 2 in the top last time through.
Bell won 7 times last year. Pick it up where he left off. His 9th career victory comes today at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Great job, guys. Thank you.
And I think that's a story we're going to hear a lot this year of Christopher Bell and Cole Custer running up at the front of the pack. But Christopher Bell he put it on him today.
In a word,
guys, good car again.
Domination. Won both stages, led 143 of 163 laps, and a great day for Joe Gibbs Racing across the board. All 3 of their cars finishing inside the top 6. Custer was 2nd, Allgaier was 3rd, Jones and Reddick complete the top 5 today.
Well, just a lot of impressive runs, and obviously we talked about Christopher Bell and Cole Custer, but Justin Allgaier did a great job getting his car back in contention and gave himself a chance at the end. But the guy that sticks out in that top 6 for me is still Jeffrey Earnhardt. I think he did a great job. He just unfortunately got stuck in that outside line there on the restart.
Back behind him, a couple of rookies. Justin Haley. Nice job by Noah Gragson to battle back and get a top 10 finish.
I'd say your 3 probably championship favorites. Finished 1, 2, 3 in the race. And then below that, you've got a bunch of young, hungry guys that are ready to go racing and fight for their careers, essentially.
A couple of years ago, Christopher Bell won both stages, picked up a win in the Truck Series. And following our post-race coverage for the Xfinity cars today, it will be race number 2 in 2019 for the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Looking forward to that later on. You can watch it live right here on FS1. Bell, a Truck Series champion. Great rookie campaign in the Xfinity Series last year. And has served notice he's the favorite to win the title this season. Not sure anyone's surprised at this. The kid is so talented. He's done so many things in his racing career, and get used to it. He's only 24 years old. Part 1 of our NASCAR doubleheader on FS1 is complete. Congratulations all around for Christopher Bell. First win of 2019 comes in race number 2. Different car, different driver, similar results to a year ago.
Well, maybe he'll get to put this car in his living room. I don't know.
He might have to knock out some walls to make that happen. And he's already made it to victory lane, Matt.
Christopher Bell sweeps the day here in Atlanta. So do you think if he didn't go to the high side on the last lap, he was going to have the momentum to make the run?
He probably would have. Man, the top is just so good over there in 1 and 2, and even there on that long run coming to 5 to go, I knew I was going to have to move up to block the 2 car at some point, and just really struggling there. But man, I'm very thankful and very fortunate to be able to drive this Rheem Camry, his Rheem Supra, and it's the first Supra win in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, so that means a lot to me to be able to become the first driver to win this. And I'm really happy for all of our partners at Rude, Toyota, everyone at Toyota Racing Development. Thank you. This Supra is awesome. Looks great, and it's fast too. So a lot of fun, and man, I'm just honored to be here.
History-making day, but a perfect executed day.
I don't know about that one. I felt pretty sloppy there as a driver at sometimes. Running the yellow line is so hard, and I don't know. I would just struggle on the longer runs there. So, like I said, I knew that I was struggling on the bottom of 1 and 2, and I knew I was going to have to move up there if we didn't get that last yellows. So, I was pretty thankful that yellow came out so we put some tires on it.
Congratulations.
Cole Custer, a nice recovery after a slow pit stop in the middle of the race right there. We just talked to Christopher Bell about going up to the top on that last lap. Had he not, from where you were sitting, were you going to get by him?
Yeah, if he ran the bottom, I think I would have had him, but that's just not what happened. He kind of took the air away, and then but it was close, man. Like, I thought I was going to have a run going down the backstretch, but it just wasn't enough. But I don't know, that was a fun race. I just can't thank everybody at Jacob Companies and Ford, It was just a great run for our first mile and a half race with new crew chief Mike. So we just got to build off that. We'll be a threat all year.
Lots of momentum for these guys going forward.
Well, and this is the first of 10 mile-and-a-half races on the 2019 schedule. When you consider the background for Mike Shiplett, Cole Custer has a couple of wins on mile-and-a-half tracks. What he did here today, I would anticipate that 00 is someone we'll watch not only all year long, but in particular at these intermediate tracks where we know both those guys have a strong history and should be really good throughout the balance of the campaign. Let's go back down. More post-race coverage from Regan.
Well, Jeffrey Earnhardt here talking to the media. Jeffrey, a career best run for you today. I know you led laps last week, but how gratifying is this result today for you?
It is awesome, just to get to go and compete in a really good car like this. Hate we got stuck on the outside on that last restart. This restarts are really hard on the outside here, but Toyota Supra was super fast today. These guys put me in a heck of a car, and we came up short on the win, but we showed we belong here, and we're going to run up front the rest of the races.
Career best result for Jeffrey Earnhardt. Matt?
And catching up with Tyler Reddick. So taking a chance, exhaling, looking back on the day, how would you describe it?
We had a great car. Pinnacle Financial Partners Camaro was just outstanding all day long, and we put a lot of work in on practice doing a line that I'm traditionally not very good at, and it just seemed to come to us pretty well in the race. And unfortunately, we just had some miscues that just took us back, but our car was great. I know those guys will get it figured out. They're Cup caliber crew members, and I got all the faith in the world in them. So we hit everything right. We're going to have a good day, and we should be able to get this thing victory lane soon.
Impressive run you were making reeling in the 20 car, and then the caution came out. If the caution hadn't come out, did you have the momentum, the drive to reel him in?
I don't know. I actually think our stuff was going away a little bit. Obviously, everyone's stuff's going away. It's Atlanta, but I think I just finally gotten honed back in where I needed to be, right? The lap or two before the caution came out, but running fast them's one thing, pass them's a whole nother. I feel like if I could have got some air on his left rear, I may have been able to get him loose enough. But I knew he was going to battle hard, so who knows what would have happened. But I'll take a 5th place. We had a lot of challenges to overcome today, and I'm looking forward to Vegas.
Thanks, Tyler. Regan?
A big battle for Justin Allgaier today. You fell out of the top 10 at one point. Next thing we know, we look up and you come home with a 3rd place finish.
Yeah, really hats off to the guys at Junior Motorsports. Everybody on this Cessna Camaro SS did a great job. We were pretty good that first stage, and then the second stage we made an adjustment. And unfortunately, it just didn't do what we wanted it to do, and we fell back. And great pit stops all day, and was able to kind of charge our way back through there. And then at the end, I thought we had the ticket. I was going to go to the middle there on that last restart. Thought I could get that momentum, and unfortunately, I let Cole by me. So still, all in all, a great day, a great start to the season. Would love to be standing in victory lane, but hats off to those guys. Christopher was definitely the class of the field today. So we'll go to next week at Vegas and hopefully run a little bit better.
Thanks, Justin.
Great hustle down there by Matt and Regan. And the one thing I want to go to start out, Tyler Reddick. He's in the game, got a chance to win this race. Late caution, issues on pit road, and he says, we are a team. That's a lot of maturity from a young driver who had a great race car today.
Oh, it is. And the driver has a responsibility to lead the team correctly and to kind of pick people up when they have those tough moments. So he did a great job there on camera, and I'm sure when he gets back to the shop, he'll handle it well, too.
The other thing, did Christopher Bell tell Matt Yoakum in victory lane, I was sloppy today? He led 143 of 163 laps, and he's got messes to clean up?
Well, I think that speaks to the expectations that they have. And when you look at Jason Ratcliffe and the things that he's done with his young driver last year and now starting off this year, they expect to win. And I think today they sent a message that we don't want to win one race or 2 races. We want to win a bunch of races, and we're here to contend for this championship.
Perhaps they do have to clean some things up for next week, because as we talked about throughout the broadcast, Kyle Busch going to be driving that 18 car, and we know that's going to be difficult for everyone who's competing at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So that's part 1 of our doubleheader. Trucks are on the way. With you two, though, I want to look to tomorrow. You qualified 18th. You're starting 11th. What do we anticipate, or do we have any idea based on the changes that have come with this particular setup?
It's hard to say, but it still is Atlanta. And, watching today's race, even the laps that I made in practice today, the tire fall-off is so severe that handling alignment's going to be key. Ultimately, clean air is going to be king too. So I think it's going to be a little different race because we don't have the power that we're used to having, but you're going to have to manage those tires.
What do you think, Kevin?
Well, I think that the bottom is still going to be there. I think it's a lot harder to hit with the big splitter and the things that we have going on with this car. So I think you're going to see that line move all over the racetrack, and I think it's going to be drastically different from when you start the run to the end of the run. So that's still the same old Atlanta to me.
We knew he was good on track at Atlanta. What'd you think of Jimmy in the broadcast booth today?
I thought he did a great job.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming up here.
It was a great time, and kind of like driving a race car. It's not as easy as it looks sometimes.
No, sir.
But it was great to have you up here. We had a good time, and certainly appreciate it, and the best of luck to both of you tomorrow.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
Come back and see us, all right?
Will do.
So a big day for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. The trucks are loading up out here behind us. We'll have that momentarily. Right now, we're going to our Race Hub studios in Shannon Spake.
Hey guys, Jimmy, Kevin, great job. Adam, I know how sensitive you are, so great job out there as well. Let's talk about that finish to the race. Obviously, Christopher Bell dominated the entire race, but Cole Custer, he loves that high line, doesn't he? I mean, we saw it at Homestead, and he really tried to make that work in the closing laps of this race.
Yeah, he did an awesome job. I thought on the restart, when you have brand new tires on and you want to run the bottom, the hardest thing to do is to not run the bottom, but that's what you have to do when that's where the leader is. So he did a really good job of running the top of 1 and 2 with 2 laps to go, and clearly the 20 spotter told him, hey, the 00 is getting a big run on the top of 1 and 2, so you need to move up, and he did. He defended that, and we heard Cole say it took his air away.
Yeah, ran 154 laps, essentially caution-free. We had the 2 cautions for the 2 stage breaks, and then with 8 laps to go, we get that caution. It was not a game changer for Christopher Bell, but it certainly was a game changer for Cole Custer and a big game changer for Tyler Reddick. They had a rough pit stop, goes from 2nd to 5th, and that's where he finished.
Yeah, that's not the one you want to have a rough pit stop on, the last one of the day.
Gotta save the best for last.
Yes, you do. Well, let's take a look at our race recap and show you how everything went down out there in Atlanta today. Early in the race, the 23 of John Hunter Nemechek and the 7 of Justin Allgaier make contact. I think this was over the end of the stage.
After the stage. John Hunter Nemechek was trying to get that stage point. They got a real problem with Allgaier having a problem with that.
You love that, don't you, Larry Mack? You love it when drivers get mad about racing. John Hunter Nemechek brought out the caution with 7 to go, but really the entire story of the day was about Christopher Bell and just how fast he was. After the ensuing pit stops after this one, you just mentioned Tyler Reddick having the bad pit stop, lost 4 spots on pit road. But I think this kid, I mean, he's gonna show us some stuff next week in Vegas.
Yeah, and there was nothing the guy could do there. The hose got caught underneath the splitter, and the pit crew guy just had to get it out.
You're going to see Cole Custer, that 00 car. He was making a run at Christopher Bell, but Christopher Bell, with 1 to go, took the line away down in 1 and 2, and that's why he's celebrating in victory lane.
We also have to note that Christopher Bell's crew chief is who, Larry Mack?
Jason Ratcliffe. 17 years between his 2 wins, 17 years ago with this man right here.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, it's a big win. I cannot believe that this was just his 2nd victory down there at Atlanta. And truly, I mean, you talk about the crew chief on top of that pit box, the crew chief, the spotter, the driver. This is a full package when it comes to success at Atlanta.
Well, yeah, and we talked about it. Christopher Bell, that team is one of the championship contenders, probably the favorite going into it. Justin Allgaier maybe being the other one. So great day for them. It's pretty cool. Like we talked about off air that we thought Jason Ratcliffe surely had won there at some point between my win and today, but hadn't. So cool for him. That's a big stat.
And you think about it, 2007, Toyota got their first win in this series with Jason Leffler in a Camry.
Oh, that's right,
in
Supra.
Indianapolis, the ORP, IRP, whatever they call it today. And this was the 150th win for Toyota in the Xfinity Series. But Christopher Bell said earlier in the week, I would love to get that first win for Toyota with his Toyota Supra, and he did accomplish that.
I remember that race at ORP and him racing Greg Biffle for that win. That was exciting. Certainly exciting day down there for Christopher Bell in Atlanta. It took him 8 races last year to get his first victory. He, of course, gets it done in just week 2. Could be a big season for that 20. Congratulations to Christopher Bell winning the race in Atlanta, the 2nd race of the season in the Xfinity Series, dominating on the day, leading the majority of the laps, and of course, taking the victory as Cole Custer tried to hunt him down in those closing laps. So we've got to give a couple attaboys, though, to 2 drivers in the field specifically today. Let's start with Jeffrey Earnhardt. first top 10, first career top 10. And I think every time we looked up, you kind of just, you're rooting for him. Right, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, what he did last week at Daytona was awesome, qualifying second. He led that first stage to the very end, ended up 15th, which isn't where he wanted to be, but it was still a good day. Today was huge, though.
Bigger than last week.
Absolutely. Atlanta's a really hard track to drive. That's a lot of pressure on a guy like him. He's got a really good opportunity now, and he wants to make the most of it. I thought that was great to get to see him have the finish that he had.
Well, in Joe Gibbs Racing, they had the 1-2-3 finish in the Daytona 500. I know it wasn't quite that, but they still had a solid day. When you look at Christopher Bell, you look at Jeffrey Earnhardt, and Brandon Jones in that 19 car, fast all weekend long, had a pit road speeding penalty at lap 83, and his pit crew did the job on that last trip to pit road, came in 6th, went out 4th, and that's where he ended up finishing with a top 5 finish.
I can't believe it's hard to believe that is Jeffrey Earnhardt's first top 10. Really, this is a great opportunity for him this season to be in great equipment and show what he's capable of.
To me, Jamie and I were talking about this. This was much bigger than Daytona. At Daytona, yeah, it's about the driver, but it's about the equipment. This racetrack is about the driver.
Absolutely, and here's the other thing is I don't think he's going to be in that car for a while, so when you're going to have your break, you want to have a good finish leading into the time that you're going to be off. So this is huge for him. He'll be able to go home, maybe debrief with his crew chief, go over what they can do better at their next race, but this was a big day for him. He ran well all day long and did everything right.
Wanted to show that Daytona was not just a flash in the pan, and he supported that and backed that up today.
Yeah, handful of starts, so we'll get to see him in that race car again. So you saw Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick in the booth with Adam Alexander today calling the race. We've got a star-studded cast that's going to join Adam over the season. Next week in Las Vegas, it'll be Brad Keselowski along with Kevin Harvick. The following week, it'll be Eric Jones along with Kevin Harvick, and then it's Brad and Michael Waltrip. Kevin Harvick, he's doing a lot for us this season.
Well, he made a decision. No more Xfinity Series races for me in a race car, but he likes being in the booth with Adam and them.
It's a lot of fun, and we love having those guys. They did a great job up there today. One way that I want to make the turn, I want to talk about pit stops, because we were in the middle of this race, and you looked at me and you said, tomorrow in the Cup Series, something that we might not be talking about a lot is the fact that this is a real challenge for those pit crews who didn't have a huge challenge last week at Daytona, but they will be called upon many times in this race tomorrow at Atlanta.
Well, you know, last week at Daytona, we saw a lot of 2 tires and a lot of times just fuel only. Tomorrow, we're going to have probably 10 to 12 pit stops, and it's always going to be 4 tires. There are no 2-tire stops happening at Atlanta. So that's a lot of pressure on those pit crews because it's earlier in the year. The teams have moved people around, so maybe they're not completely used to working together. Tomorrow, though, they're going to get a workout, and it's going to be really important.
Yeah, a lot of trips to pit road. Shannon, you could be a good crew chief tomorrow because every time the yellow flag waves,
4 tires.
more tires. But there still will be some strategy. We saw a little bit of that today in the Xfinity Series race. Even though the fuel window is way up there in the 54 to 58 lap range, they'll start short pitting for those fresh tires, just like we saw some drivers do today. And that becomes a bit of a chess match because once one driver comes and gets 4 fresh tires, you cannot be far behind because you'll be giving up 2 to 3 seconds a lap.
Even with the new aero package, is it going to be as extreme? I mean, what's the balance there?
It doesn't look like there's quite as much lap time fall off, but the weather is supposed to get sunny tomorrow. And if that happens, there will be more fall off. The other thing that's hard to explain is that when you are on old tires and people start pitting, not only are you running 2 or 3 seconds a lap slower, but when those cars pass you, they're going so much faster than you that it sucks you around, and so your lap time suffers even more, so you're begging to get on pit road. There's a lot of strategies that'll happen tomorrow, and the crew chiefs are going to go over that tonight, kind of based on what happened in happy hour, seeing how much fall off there was. And then, you know, the other thing that plays into that is that if your car is really good on the short run, then maybe you want to pit more often because you make up more on the front side. Maybe your car is good on the long run, so you stay out a little bit longer. So a lot of scenarios, and it's different for everybody.
You know, I think we go to these mile and a halves, and particularly Atlanta, there's always favorites, right? You look at Kevin, you look at Kyle, you look at Martin Truex Jr. What about Kyle Busch starting in the back of the field tomorrow?
I would be willing to bet probably before lap 20.
Is this your, okay, write it down.
He would probably be in the top 20, if not the top 15. You know, we used to make such a big deal out of backup cars. Most of my years as a crew chief, I'd look at that backup car, I'd go, Lord, I hope we don't have to unload that thing. These backup cars, they're just as good as the primary car. Yeah, you don't want to start in the rear. He has not turned a single lap in that car, but I can promise you he will be a threat. But Jamie pointed this out to me. I can't take credit. He was showing me the lap tracker. There's another Kyle I think that's going to be pretty tough tomorrow, and that's that 42 car, Kyle Larson.
Why?
Well, I just looked at his lap times, and Kyle almost won here a couple years ago, a late race restart. Brad Keselowski ended up passing him for the win. But I looked at his lap times. I looked at his line. It was a little different than what Kevin had run. And his lap times look good. His fall off looks really good. He's fast on both ends of the run. He's going to have a good day tomorrow, I think, if he can get to the end.
I think with Kevin Harvick getting over his issues as well, certainly that's someone we have to look at as potentially being a favorite. So
Sure.
Kyle Larson, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, kind of sounds like every time we go to Atlanta, right? Okay, well, it should be interesting tomorrow. You see right there the trucks on the grid.